Yo, 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 yo. What's good, my people? It's your boy Jason Gooner, and we're back in the studio. You know what time it is, people? We had a few days ago the 60-man provisional squad for the Gold Cup 2025 drop for all 16 teams in the Gold Cup. And we are here to discuss Jamaica's 60-man provisional squad today. So a lot of you fans don't love when we talk about anything but Jamaica. So today is your day. All right. So today we're going to be talking about the 60-man Reggae Boy squad, the provisional squad. We're going to go through the names. We're going to discuss the new additions. Also, it's a big, wide 60-man pool, but I still feel like there were some omissions as well. So I'm going to discuss my personal omissions that I saw in there. And also, we'll try to take a crack at picking a best 23. All right, people? Yes, I think that will be a nice exercise for today. As I said, today is going to be all about the Reggae Boys. We know there are 15 other teams in the Gold Cup. All their squads got released as well, their provisionals. I'm going to do some separate content as far as at least the ones in our group. You know what I mean? The ones in our group, the Guadeloupe, the Panama, and the Guatemala. Yes, I'm going to look at those three teams in particular. Look through all the teams as well, but I want to do some content separate just on the Gold Cup groups. So maybe that's how I'll do it. We'll do some different content with each group, talk about the provisional squads. Yeah, try to see if we can pick out everything. But I have the Jamaica squad printed out here, I have my notes. So we're going to go through everything, talk about how I feel about all the players. Definitely have some thoughts on the composition of the team. I think what I've seen so far in the reactions to what they have seen with this squad. Some people are upset with a few people not being there, Ravel Morrison being one. I've heard that sentiment a lot. I've also heard some folks wondering if the quality of some of the recruitment might not have been what we would want. I have some thoughts on that as well. I don't really feel like, from what I've seen so far, the players that we get, some of them have not performed up to how I would like. But at the same time, when you really look at their performances, are they really that bad? Right? We might want more, yes. But are the performances really that bad when you look at it? That's the thing. I happen to think they're not. I think sometimes a narrative will be formed about players, and when you really look back at how they played, watch back the game, eye test, then look at the stats as well to accompany the eye test that you do with watching back the game, and you get out of the emotions of the in the moment. You'll realize that some of these players that we say have not been any good at all have actually had some decent performances for Jamaica. So, we're going to discuss all of those things tonight. I think I was going to talk about a bit the press conference. I had a chance to go to the press conference yesterday with Steve McClaren. It was basically CONCACAF had a virtual press conference for all the coaches in the Gold Cup. They did half the coaches yesterday, half the coaches the day before. So McClaren's day happened to be yesterday. So I was in there and asked a question about how important it is to find the balance between trying to incorporate your style or change the team's playing style, while also knowing that we're in such a crucial time frame and phase in terms of needing results. So what does that balance look like? Can you really be changing the team, chopping and changing the system? Up to a point, you're going to have to stop because we need to get the results. And he said basically that's the hardest job for a manager, trying to get your team to play in your way while not sacrificing the ability to attain the results that you might need to stay in the job, which I would tend to agree with that, actually. I wish he would have told me more along the lines of what I asked and not have such a generic answer. But you have to. I realize with Coach McClaren, it's best to ask a very, very, very specific, direct question if you want a very specific, direct answer. So I am taking my own notes and my own form of questioning to the coach so that we can get more out of it as a fan base in terms of his response. So people were a bit upset that I did not ask straight out where is Ravel Morrison? You know, I had my questions on my paper, and Ravel question was one of them. I thought I was gonna get 2 questions. I kind of asked the question I asked in 2 parts, which probably was why the guy didn't give me another chance. But yeah, we live and we learn, people. We live and we learn. But yeah, listen, first thing, you know, we're not gonna waste no time, people. Today is about a discussion about players. We're gonna talk about the players that were picked. There's some other things that did come out in the news that I actually have to talk about as well. I saw JD made a video about it. I got sent a video yesterday, right? And the title of the video, I don't know if you guys saw this, but the title of the video, it says, hold on, let me not play it. I probably could play it, you know. It's TVJ's video. It says, Reggae Boys head coach impressed with local players, right? That's the title of the video, you know. That's the title of the video. But I want you to listen to the comments that McClaren makes in the video.
High praises for the local league.
What I love about Jamaican football, the JPL, all the players, their attitude, their enthusiasm, their love, competitiveness, they just never stop running.
According to McClaren, there is one factor that separates the local players from the ones overseas.
What I see is it's all about education. So what you get in the UK and Europe is you get education. You get education from 6, 7 years old. You know? So you get taught how to dribble, how to play 1 against 1, and then you play 3 against 3. You learn how to pass and move, and then you develop to 7v7, and then you develop to 11v11, and you are taught, and it's like being in a classroom. It's a subject.
With an increase in the number of coaches attaining.
So yeah, that is what the coach had to say about the players. And I was just, you know, I still, you know, the title of this video, you hear that what he said, and the title of the video says Reggae Boys head coach impressed with local players. So it's like, bro, sometimes with us, I don't know why we can't just tell the truth. You could have put in the thing that the coach said, you know, excited about the attitude of the players and stresses the need for education or something, you know, make it more realistic to what the man actually say. I don't know, brother. Anyway, let me big up the people in the chat. Remember, people, we're on YouTube, so please, you see it scrolling on the screen, like, share, and subscribe. That is the main thing you have to do for me, people. You can always support the channel as well by becoming a member. Membership will grant you members only videos. I have already have a target in mind for the membership. Once we get to that target, I will be dropping some members only content, that content where we can maybe get a little bit deeper into the conversations, because we know it's not going out to the whole subscriber base. So maybe you can hear some things that you would not hear on the regular content, right? So that is the goal, people. I have a goal in mind. Won't really specify it, just know if we get to that number, people, I will be dropping members only content for you guys, all right? Luca Talks Ball says, hi, big up Luca Talks Ball. Yes, big up yourself. Thanks for tuning in. Young Cryptic says he's here. Big up Young Cryptic. Jean-Pierre Fan, big up yourself. Marlon, thanks so much for tuning in. No segment on the Reggae Girls Squad. Boy, Marlon, honestly, when I was making the thumbnail, I'm thinking to myself, boy, the Reggae Girls fans and the Reggae Girls themselves are going to give me a beating because they're not in the video. But I want to do the Reggae Girls content in its own show. So I'll probably do a Reggae Girls show exactly like the one I'm doing today about the squad that came out tomorrow. All right. So tomorrow, look out for a Reggae Girls show very similar to this one today, where we discuss the players in the squad. Of course, people, you should know by now, we are facing the USA on June the 3rd, right? So that is what that episode tomorrow will be about. A squad was selected. I was in that press conference as well. So I'll play the clip from the press conference tomorrow on the show, and then we'll pull up the squad and try to talk about the players as well. All right, so we'll do something exactly like this tomorrow for the Reggae Girls. So big up Jean-Pierre Fan. I am glad you asked the question, put it out there so people can hear it, so that I can tell you tomorrow, people, we're going to do this again, and we will focus on the Reggae Girls. All right. Big up Swantivity. What go on, my brother? Stay out of the swamp. Big up yourself, namesake. Yeah, man, we're not out here, we're not out here. When my namesake, hold on. From where they are namesake, now watch my video, them, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing, my namesake, why I'm now watch the video, them again. People, please smash the like button, share the video. But yeah, man, I saw the title of the video, bro, and I was like, yo, why them man you stay so? The man literally say them need education. You wouldn't even see that in the title. Oh, big up namesake. Yeah, man. We don't say more widely just go and take in the meds. Big up yourself, namesake. All right, let me send this to some people. Last time, some people trace me and say, yo, why you not? I have just cuss them back and say, yo, if you're a subscriber and you turn on the bell notifications, it doesn't matter if I share the damn video. You will be on the damn channel when the video is on. Simple. Boy, the way how the thing gets serious, people all monetize them network them in the brother. People are not easy, man. Yeah, man, but tomorrow we give the reggae girls all the love. We're gonna give them own show because them deserve that. Big up. Bless up, Ty. Big up, Ty. Something to say. I think Lewis Baker is a big plus to the team. Isaac Bobby Lewis Baker, I think that's a good midfield. The forward is always good to me, in my opinion. All right. Something to say the forward is always good. Why? Some people would disagree with the last part of that comment, We're gonna discuss it though. Bless up Joseph Brown. One Warlord. Yes. One of the best album covers there as the thumbnail. I always tell you that. Big up Rob Smith, we're there. Yes, we're gonna hold the reasoning about the team today, Rob Smith. Opinions welcomed. Hot chili, blessings, chili. Why chili? I swear I was going to grab your FA Cup trophy, brother. It never work out. One more EPL content Saturday night, I do a preview show for the last day and talk about the season and probably do a little team of the season settings show, Yeah, man. And drop the donkey of the year the most for the year, donkey of the year, or get find a new thing for your donkey of the year, Big up Chili. Always a support. Big up yourself. Bless up. Yeah, Travis. Switching it up today, I have some time early in the day. I'm gonna be running around later and then Knicks tonight. So yeah, I'm gonna get my content out in the early part of the day today. I have some time in the day, so I'm gonna use it up. Nothing wrong with what he said. Jamaican fans are too sensitive. Yes, energy. You're gonna see the backlash from what I'm saying, because remember the last coaches that say these things, it's like a them time shaker there where you flip over. Once you make the comment, just turn the shaker the next way. And so when that done, fired. Here come the detached from reality man, them angry about Rec League Ravel. Rob Smith. One thing, all right, I will always respect people that have them opinion. You see me? Because the popular opinion is Ravel need to be in the team. But Rob Smith no business with that, brother. Him no business with that. And I respect it. Be the way you are, say it with your chest. Yeah, man. And argue your points. That is what we are here to do. Ball of them duns for real. Yes. And when you say it, you have to make sure energy. You don't just say duns. You have to say football education, because not all local players duns in them brain. You know what I'm saying? It's more about the football education, the movements on the pitch, what to do on the ball, what to do off the ball. That's what he's referring to. Yeah, man, you're watching, just not commenting. We know it go, man. Bless up, J. Russ. We're there, bro. We're there. Another opinionated person. Love when you turn up, because it make the conversation nice. So do your job as well. drop in the comments. I'll do the best to highlight them as we go through the team. We're just going to pull up on the screen the actual 60-man squad. I'm sure all of you are, avid enough fans to have seen this already. But we're going to put it on the screen to show you guys. Make sure I have it here. So we're going to make it as big as possible because we know CONCACAF, they tend to have these tiny things. So I'm going to zoom it just one more time. So it's a 60-man roster, right? And of course, you can pick up to 26 players, right? I think the way it works is, CONCACAF has a set finite number of staff and players that they basically account for in terms of finances, so room and board and things of that nature, food, all of that, right? So if you take 26 players, in essence, you can either lessen your technical staff, which I don't think the coach would want to do, or the JFF just pays for the extra 3 players. So knowing that information, people, how many players you think the JFF going to put in the team for the Gold Cup? Put that in the comment section. 23 or 26. Let me know. Bless up, Sheridan. Big up yourself. Respect, Sheridan. Yeah, man, you let me know about that video there. I find it funny how leader and others are trying to justify picking fillers for a 60-man needed for an official tournament. Yeah, J-Ross, that is going to be a bulk of the conversation surrounding the 60-man squad before we get into, breaking down the new additions and the omissions and things like that. This conversation about the 60-man squad, I don't think people understand, right? Too often when we're picking teams, those fringe, you would call players in whatever squad, whether it's a 23, a 50, a 60, we just disregard those last 6. In this, we went from the disregarding the last 6 to, I would say, at least 15 to 20 other players. Like, just, if we're being realistic and honest, they're not going to be picked, or even picked. They wouldn't be picked for the 23 players. So you're limiting your options when you get ready to actually pick the team. And we know our players and our situations with various things, from passport to injuries to communication to just everything. There seems to always be some kind of disconnect with the players and when they're supposed to come. And, there's always things going on. So knowing that, I would think the best thing to do would, you want to put as many players on your 60, right, that you actually want to put in the 23. And we're going to see when we go through these names that there's a lot of players. I would say all of us in this chat and myself, no matter what side of the divide you're on about players, you're going to agree that these players is not really going to be picked in the 23 and have no chance to be picked. And I want us to count how many of those players there are out of the 60. And hopefully that will drive home my point. Yo, Brahma, bless up yourself, You never answer my question, Brahma. I ask you a question, you never answer me, Let me know, Unless you did and I never see it. Bless up, Ball Pre. Yeah, man, say I put in the work, Ball Pre. Dropping the content, I tuned into the show a little bit late last night. But yeah, man, I love the work you're putting in. I love that you emphasize putting the things on the screen so people can say, yeah, make up nothing. That is nice. The conversation always will go better if you do those things and don't just say things, Put it on the screen, man. Show the people them that you actually know what you're talking about. Big up, Ball Pre. J-Ross answer 23. I agree with you, J-Ross. Honestly, I don't like his comments. To me, it starts to push the blame away from himself. Okay, I am getting annoyed of hearing him mention Heimer developed. Now is your time. Own it. Charles Brahma, that is a fair comment about he seems to always want to piggyback or mention Hal Grimson and what he did. I think it's more, Brahma, it could be subconsciously him like deflecting the blow a bit and just saying, it's not me alone build this thing, but yes, accountability, I think, is one of the greatest attributes of any manager. So if he's doing it in terms of deflecting blame, then I would agree with you, Brahma, but I don't think that is necessarily the case. I think he just is more doing it on a sense of acknowledgement. Like, you know, there were people doing things and laying groundwork before me, but that's one way to look at it still, Brahma, you know. Less parish FA and more play. Yeah, yeah. Well, Nicardo, honestly, that when I say technical staff, you know, I'm not talking about the JPL delegation and I mean JFF delegation. Sorry. I'm more talking about, you know, coaches, assistant coaches, masseuse, you know, team doctor, things like that. Manager, and managers, media officer, and all them things. 23 plus extra JPL tagalongs. No, in Jamaica, 24, but the other one will actually be unavailable for the whole competition. Well, actually, we have seen that before. We have seen that before. A lot of fringe and ain't the JPL players alone. All right, Rob Smith, we're going to have that conversation. It might not be just JPL players that I am considering players that won't be picked. That is true. That is true, but we'll go through it. Up Travis in the building. The parish FA have no say in Jamaica football team and selection. No, I think he's talking about who is going to accompany them traveling. You know, I'm not talking about the team picking. Him say less players and more delegation going to travel. So if it's 23 or 26, Nicardo said 23. The more things change, the more they stay the same. Every time we get close to World Cup qualifying, we go basement bargain hunting in League One for players. Where are the Mitchells, Rose, and Irons? All right. So Rob Smith is underwhelmed with the level of the recruited players. All right. That's something that I've heard as well as a sentiment, which I said earlier. Okay, anyway, let's just go down into the players now in terms of who is on there. All right. So let me think that's a bit, this should be good enough so I can see the whole screen. All right. So Stephen Young, Portmore United. You see the date of birth there as well, which is nice, so you can know the ages of the players. So Stephen Young due to turn 24 this year, so decent age on him. I think when you talk about centre backs in the league, he's one that has been in and around the Jamaican setup, whether it's with that CAC games competition, played the was picked for the games against Trinidad most recently. You know, when you talk about Stephen Young, you know, look, I think his energy levels cannot be understated. I think he's a very hard-working player. I just don't know if I have seen enough growth and development from him from a couple of years ago. It just seems to me like he's very similar to the player that I saw when I first saw him playing in that CAC games competition. You know, I think heart of a lion. I think he has some deficiencies physically as well. Not the biggest, tallest player in the world for a centre back. You know, decent enough on the ball, but I wouldn't call him like a technically high proficiency type of player. You know, I think with Stephen Young, it's more so a case where, you know, maybe his inclusion in the 60-man pool has more to do with familiarity. You know, he would have been in the most recent squad. I think there are some centre backs that aren't on this list that definitely I would have ahead. I would have them ahead of Stephen Young. But I'll talk about those in the omissions, because I think if you're making a 60-man pool, you'd want to have, I would say, 5 to 10 from the local league, right? Because typically when we're picking the main team, there's about 2 to 3 in it. So you want to have a pool of players to pick from that for that 2 to 3. But we'll see how many we got to at the end of this list. So Stephen Young, for me, one of the ones that I'm gonna put as a player that, in my estimation, doesn't really have a shot to make the 23, right? So I'm gonna put an asterisk by his name on my list because I want to add up all those players as well. Like how many players we see on this list and we say to ourselves, boy, we don't think Stephen Young is gonna get called up to the actual team. Trying to find, here we go. Yeah, so I was just looking at so he's listed. I know CONCACAF list. Did they list anything? No, so they don't have a list of heights or anything on here. So I'll have to just look at it in somewhere else. Let's see. All right, but Stephen Young, let me know your thoughts. Are you surprised? You're okay with his inclusion? What are people thinking about Stephen Young overall? Anybody think that I am misreading how I've interpreted what I think about the player? Let me know in the comment section as well. Like I said, I think, I like his mental attributes. I like his fight, his determination. I think he's willing to put his body on the line to make challenges, which you love to see. But I just don't know if there has been enough of a progression in my estimation from the initial time when I would have seen him play. I would say about 3 years ago now, or maybe 4. I think 2021 is the first time I would have seen this player. So, at the time he was still a teenager, definitely one that they were looking at and saying he has a bright future. But for me, I haven't seen enough of a progression, from him to warrant him to even be considered for the final team. So I would say he gets an asterisk for me, and you guys can let me know if you agree with that. All right. Crack didn't press send, but she's grassroots, but she plays 2 years above her age. Nice. It's always good when you challenge them, My daughter plays at her age level, but I am happy with that because she's in the highest level possible at her age in the state. So she's getting challenged. Cheaper to take the extra tag along side from JPL. That's what I see to keep locals happy. Okay. So it's an appeasing thing. You just want to make sure people don't get too upset. Dre, anyway, that sports, big up yourself. The breaking news boss himself, or that's what they call him. Big up, Dre. Yeah. Boy, Dre, you have a side playing today because you have about 79 side, So, I don't know. One of your team them playing a match today. He's not 100% wrong. We always mention big names, and half the time, most of them don't materialize. Yeah. That's why, some people would see that Rob Smith comment and upset and think, but it's true. I mean, the players that we hear about in between the windows, right? Or the windows basically, don't ever turn out to be what we see when we get players over the line. It's players like there are a few players on here that, they were kept very far under wraps. We didn't even know that they were even close to being selected or being over the line with passports and stuff like that. So Steve Young is very underrated, says Marlon. Okay, so Marlon has a slightly different take from me on Stephen Young. I would give them credit. At least it's not the typical 30-plus-year-old man. Okay. So Rob Smith said, even though the levels of the leagues might not be what he wanted, at least it's not all some people in the twilight of their career, let's call it. Hey, big up. You'll never walk alone in the building. Jordan Hyman. Yes, big up. On the support Jordan as well. Who is Steve Young? Stephen Young, the first player on the list, Portmore centre-back. He's probably 4th or 5th on the JPL list. So no, he don't need under 23. Yeah, okay. So 4th or 5th in the JPL hierarchy. Okay, fair. I think I might actually agree with him about there. Just off the top of my head. Stephen Young is 23 years old. He'll be 24 in July. He was actually good in the under 23, says Rob Smith. Young is possibly top 5 CB in the league, along with Cummins, Brown, King. Okay. Oh, Brown, Markovich Brown. Yeah, I hear a lot about that kid. Disappointing squad. Not impressed with the recruiting. I heard about Ben Johnson, Max Arians, Mason Greenwood, Jonathan Rowe. Yes, people, and maybe that's why sometimes they want to shield the public from the names, because they don't want people to be so vexed when the squads come out. They don't say that's the reason. They say other reasons, but maybe that's actually one of the best reasons why you would, so that people don't, because people will look at it one of two ways. They look at it saying they're disappointed in the JFF for not getting it over the line, or they look at it disappointed that the players are dragging their feet getting the passport over the line. So either way, somebody getting cussed. Good to see the youngsters Hall and Johnson for the future, not for now, says Nitro. All right, we're going to have that discussion as well because I have some thoughts on that. Okay, so Stephen Young, for me, gets an asterisk. I don't think in this player pool he was really necessary, but he gets his look in. So that's good. That's good for the young man. All right, so moving on now, we have him listed. We're not even going to look at the positions because they have Stephen Young as a forward, which is incorrect. The next player on the list is Tariq Ximines. So Tariq Ximines, we know Tariq Ximines did spend some time over in Belgium. He was mainly representing the club he was at, Cercle Brugge, at the reserve team level, but did make the bench a few times, and I think he did get a run out in 1 or 2 of the games as well. But he, after his time there, I think I want to say let me check. Yeah, so he did leave Young Circle after staying for about, I would say, a year and a half. He went there in the January transfer window of 2023, and he was back basically at the start of the 24-25 this season, back with Portmore playing in the Premier League. So he had a good season with Portmore. Yes, he displayed his versatility in terms of being a more attacking player early in the season, and then eventually eventually getting back to his main role of right back in a back four system under Rudolph Austin. So for me, a player that I used to be very hard on when I saw him in the U20, for example. I was so unimpressed with what he was doing. And I was actually kind of surprised when I saw that he got the move to Young Circle, just based on what I had seen when he was challenged at what you would call a higher level for him than like seeing him in the Manning Cup and even at the JPL in some instances. Playing at the international level, even if it's U20, it sometimes asks different questions than what the JPL might ask. So in seeing him in that setup and setting, I was a little bit down on the player. Now, the fact that he was able to move over there and get his way into even the consideration to play some first team football, I had to give him some more credit. But I think this year, if I'm being totally honest, I thought he would have been more of a standout player back in the JPL. With his pedigree, with where he's coming from, what he has been able to learn, bringing that back to the JPL. I was expecting more. I don't know if people are on the same train as me with that, but I was expecting more out of him in this JPL season, expecting him to be more of a standout player. I was expecting at the end of the season, when you're talking about team of the season, his name is in the conversations and stuff, but haven't really heard that. And I think if his name was in those conversations, it wouldn't be warranted, Jano, what may I say so energy? I need to be careful. He's the top 5 in the league. Okay. Zimo, maybe or maybe not. Right back, look weak. An injury or 2, we could see him. Yeah, so look, I am not going to put Tariq Ximines on the asterisk list, mainly because of what Robbie's saying here, because that was going to be my next point. I think when we're talking about these players and if they deserve asterisk or not, we need to look at the pool of players in that position. So for me, Stephen Young in a CB pool, that is one of our strongest, deepest areas. I just don't see him forcing his way into that mix of typically you're going to have 4 CBs picked, right? You might have 5 depending on what the coach wants to do system-wise, but we have right back / center back. So a lot of those right back selections can be that 5th CB, right? So we have to think about these things when we're thinking about the squad. So I'm not going to put it on Ximines because there's some omissions that I'm going to talk about at the right back position in particular that might make Ximines a potential option in terms of cover. I still don't think he'll quite make it, but I won't go as far to put an asterisk with him. All right, so the next player on the list, people, is a forward. His name is Romario Williams. We have seen him before. He has now made Let's see, he's 30 years of age now. He's currently with Indy 11 in the USL Championship, which is the second tier, right? And he has 23 caps now for Jamaica, scoring 4 times. The last time we saw him, he kind of brought back into the fold. We were having a bit of a striker crisis. He came in, had some decent performances. I remember him earning a penalty, setting up another goal. A player that, when you look at what he tries to do on the pitch, a player that I have time for. I just don't know if he's somebody that I would still be looking to in a striker setup that is probably going to have 3 players at the most in a squad. I think he's somebody that's on the outside looking in at this point to me. But because I think he's not so far removed, I will not put an asterisk on Romario Williams, but I would have him in my team, as let's say we have 3 strikers picked. I would say he's somewhere down there, 6th or 7th, so it would have to be a window where we have injuries, lack of form, lack of playing time at club, things of that nature. He's had a slow start to this season in the championship, just making his return really to the squad. Wasn't in the squad for the first 7 matches of the season. He has returned in the last 3. I think he made 2 appearances off the bench. I think he might have started their most recent one though. No, actually, he's made 3 straight sub appearances, with his minutes pretty much increasing over those 3. Still yet to get on the score sheet or get an assist, but we'll have to see. But based on form, based on where I would have him, even if everyone was on form, don't think Romario is going to get that look in the final 23. But I might be okay with him on the 60, to be honest. I might be okay. All right, the next player on the list, people, is another goalkeeper, or is the first goalkeeper of the list. I think there's 5 in the 60-man roster. And the first goalkeeper is Benjamin Williams. Now, Benjamin Williams is a 25-year-old goalkeeper, keeping for Portmore in the Premier League. Had a very good season. I would say he was probably in the top 3 for goalkeepers this season. There are maybe some higher quality in the league overall, but if we're going to give merit-based picks for the JPL goalkeepers after the season, I don't think many would argue against Benjamin Williams. Maybe could have gotten more games over the course of the season, but what I've seen of him in the clips and the games I've watched of him, I would say he's up there in the league as far as goalkeepers go. Yeah. To be fair, Powell is not a bad player. People just write him off after the own goal. Yeah, man, we'll get to all of us, man. I'll get to all of us, Powell. Bless up Dr. Hero. I'm saying they're for the very best future, but are they the best we can get right now? If so, that's disappointing. Yeah. I don't know what I say energy, but you don't have to tell me still. Romario is a good backup, says energy. What happened to Devante Cole? Well, Devante Cole, I don't, to be fair, I don't even have him on my omissions list. That is how far I have gone away from Devante Cole, but I don't know what happened to him this season. He don't get any playing time. I don't see him playing football. I mean, I guess I shouldn't just use that, but because of the area of the pitch he plays in, I think we have to scrutinize a bit heavier. Now, if it's a midfield situation, then brother, we have to get creative. Always in and around the squad. Yeah, I didn't put an asterisk on Romario. That would be unfair. So far I only have 1, and it's Stephen Young. Now, Benjamin Williams, people, the only argument I have again, I think we need to start to think more about putting players in 60-man pools, 50-man pool, whatever pool that we actually think can get picked. Could Benjamin Williams make this roster? 23-man roster. honestly, I'm going to put one by him, right? Because remember, we have 5 goalkeepers in the pool, and we're going to see where they forward from, what leagues. All right, so the next player on the list is Shamar Watson, Cavalier, Jamaica. He is a young player. He's just 20 years of age. Will turn 21 this summer. We saw him in the Champions Cup versus Inter Miami. We've seen him in the JPL. Really rose to prominence, I would say, last season when they got all the way to the final and won it. He forms a very good partnership, whether it's with Adrian Reed or Dwayne Allen in the midfield. Was kind of surprised that in the Trinidad window, the last one, he didn't get a little bit more opportunity. But for me, a player that, while he shows great promise, I think if we are really to be honest about selecting these JPL players in this pool, I think Shamar would be one on the outside looking in. I don't think McClaren, when he's picking at 23, would be looking at Watson as one of those. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe McClaren thinks more highly of him. But if I'm being honest with myself, I think that's another one that I can put an asterisk by. So that's Shamar Watson. Look, I actually like the player. I happen to think that Dwayne Allen might be the better player. I think athletically and physically, Shamar Watson looks more impressive though, like better size, better body, better agility, speed. I just think Dwayne Allen is a more intelligent player, But again, football education, not really something that we champion. I think players get that part of their game overlooked a lot when they're being analyzed by our evaluators. That's how I'll put it. Bless up Sports Blem, Wagwan JT in the building. Sure, you probably have blazed some fire again, little more. We need to move on from Bowser's energy. We don't reach Bowser yet. What energy? You just look on the list and I call out the name them. We soon reach the someone. J. Ross on the bench at West Brom. Yeah, and to be honest, you say on the bench, sometimes this man not even in the squad. Like a lot of times I'm looking and saying, damn, where is this guy, man? Yeah, I think I just saw on Instagram the other day, he just had his 30th birthday party as well, Devante Cole. Yeah, he made 14 appearances in the league out of 46 games. Rough time for him this year, man. 1 appearance in the cup. Yeah, but when you look at his output for the season, man, it's like, he only, in the course of the entire championship season, he saw 152 minutes. That's just rough, man. And he hasn't played for the team since February 1st. So I think more than likely around that window, they must have been thinking about loaning him out and it just didn't come off because he didn't get a chance after that. He made 1 start this season in the EFL Cup and played 72 minutes and got an assist. So, I just couldn't break through. This season for West Brom. Tough. I was excited for him because he was in the champ. Wanted to see how he could kick on, but it just never materialized. All right, so Watson gets an asterisk for me. One I would have maybe tried to use more wisely, especially knowing that he's in that midfield area where, if you're on this damn pool of players in the midfield, you just might need to be picked. So I would want them all to be people that I would pick. All right, Jamali Waite. Don't really need to say much about Jamali Waite. He has been the second string keeper now for a few years. We have some players that are going to be in my omissions, and I'm just going to warn you from now, people. My omissions, all the people that know about everybody's passport information, nobody tell me them don't have passport. I am just basing it off either me seeing them represent us before or being on list before, and I just don't understand why I'm not on this list now, right? So Jamali Waite, he is there for sure. 9 appearances in the championship this year. Also played 1 game in the US Cup. Out of the 4 that they played, he is on a team that had a big struggle last year, El Paso. I think El Paso, if there was relegation in this division, would be gone. I think they were one of the worst teams last year. And it started out a little bit better this year, to be honest, for them. And he's been a big part of it. Come up with some big saves in some games. So he's playing. He's on form. The trust level in Jamali Wait is still something I'm trying to see where I'm at with. I think he has done enough things in some games where I'm saying, if it was that we had to turn to him permanently, would I be fully strong? I think, there's certain aspects of his game that worry me sometimes. I do think that he doesn't have the best size as a goalkeeper. So sometimes I think his athleticism helps him out a lot because he has good spring in his jump and he's pretty strong. But I think his decision making off of his line, that's the thing that really, really, really get me nervous. We saw it in those World Cup qualifying games that we played last summer when Blake was out. And we know that Blake is nursing injury right now as we speak. So, look, Jamali, I think shot stopping wise, very good. I think, like I said, even though he's not the biggest goalkeeper, I think he has a decent presence with his strength and his anticipation with crosses. But again, his decision making on some of those longer balls over the top, when he has to make that split decision, should I go? Will I be in the box by the time the ball comes to me? All those little decisions, those are the ones that really worry me about Jamali. But look, he's our second strongest keeper in the pool. I don't think anybody would argue that. So we're gonna have to see what happens with Andre Blake. We're gonna have to see what happens with Andre Blake. But I have no issues with Jamali Wade being there. Yeah, I think I don't know if the papers thing were sorted for if you're still talking about Cole. I will not have my hopes up about a League One player. Hope they surprise me better than JPL, but Barca most can do better. Good season, but I think the coach will stick with his picks at goalkeeper. Yeah. Romario could make a 30 if he was scoring, but not my 23. All right. $60-man pool should be your best 60 available players. Absolutely. It should not be no science you're working out to get in there. Won't be in the squad. Cole is an example why we have to be careful with the League One superstars. Watson also can play CB and right back in a pinch, but yeah, he needs more time. All right, so good versatility. Well, Speed likes to move around the pieces, So I've seen Jerome McClaren play everywhere but goalkeeper. One Ravel. So Conrad and Rob Smith are going to have it out today as usual. Listen interview saying he wants to play Unity Cup and Gold Cup. It's disappointing he's not in the pool. Who we talking about here? Devante? Listen. To Ravel interview. Yeah. I saw it under the cosh. Yeah, I watched it. What was that? Yesterday morning? Yeah, I watched it yesterday morning when I woke up. Yeah, man, I listened to it. The guy sound different from one time still, bro. The man, you can see him people can change. I don't think that I don't even think he was ever really that rah-rah. I think he's just a bit misunderstood. Probably aloof is a good word for him. Just kind of spaced out, but I don't think he was I just think he was misguided, didn't really have much guidance, which didn't help him. Yeah, man, waiting the 23 for sure. I don't think they have any problem, to be honest. I don't think him and this coach have any problem. It's not as straightforward as that. Who's to say that injuries or issues with management weren't a factor? That's true. You never know. You never know. Sometimes they might tell you, All right, so the next player, people, Ricardo Thomas. He is, 26? No, 27. He'll be 28 in August. Ricardo Thomas, we have seen him represent Jamaica before, even in that Paul Hall era when we were at the end of the World Cup qualifiers and seemingly just like just doing whatever we wanted with the team. He did go to Canada and played in those games. I remember a particular play where he was like 5 yards behind everybody else on the back line. Just was not up to speed. Saw him playing for Arnett in the recently concluded quarterfinals. High energy, which most of the players that we have are. Decent technician, can use left and right foot. I think at the level he's playing at in the JPL, he would be considered a very technically proficient player. But when you put him up against like the competition that we would be facing in the Gold Cup, I don't think he would be considered as such anymore. For me, he's an asterisk big time. I don't really think that the coach would be looking his way in any final 23. We have other left backs in the league that I would say are ahead of him and have better age. So again, if we're talking about a pool of players to select from, let us try to select more players that we want in the damn 23. So we're up to 4 asterisks and I only gone 7 people. Lord God. How many asterisks will we end up with? I don't know. But we're going to find out. We say, you're not bother with the Ravel. All right. That's good. Just leave it be. You can't fix everything. He wasn't injured. He only played what? 100. Yeah, the man played 152 minutes in the championship. Yeah, and he played 72 more in the EFL Cup where he started. But other than that, it was a struggle. Yeah, Thomas can play right and left. That is true. First, fire Steve McClaren. No, he don't pick Ravel, but he can pick him the qualifying games. He's the savior. Well, that's the thing too, I was always under the impression that this 60-man pool will give me an idea of what he's looking at for the World Cup qualifiers, because he himself mentioned that in his ideal situation, he would just roll over the team from the World Cup qualifiers straight into the Gold Cup. So it would be the same team, which I think makes sense. It's basically a lead into the Gold Cup. You're preparing for that as well as getting the job done in the World Cup qualifiers, right? So the fact that there are players not on this list that I think could have helped us in both of those competitions is a worry for me, because I don't think he's gonna not put somebody in the 60-man pool and then turn around and pick them for the World Cup qualifying in a week before. I don't think so. No idea why Thomas is on the squad apart from being a 2-footed fullback. Yeah, Thomas being there is mad. Signa says Thomas improved considerably from when I saw him a few years ago. He's not good enough for a top JPL team. That's it. All right. So he was coming from too far, even though he improved. All right. Fair. Yeah, Travis, I've heard you mention this a lot, that some of these JPL players, it's really a system thing, and they're in the system, so they're going to stay in the system. I don't know if that's the most productive way to build a system, though, or build what do I call it now, the production line that you want to bring through and filter through to the top level. I don't know if you want to just stick with people just because they were there before. If they haven't shown you that they can go past where they are, based on whatever factors, for me, to me, any JPL player that they're thinking about including in a 60-man pool or in a 23, they have to have a mindset. If it's close, right, choose the youth. Now, obviously, if there's a player that's 32 in the JPL that deserves to play based on merit over anybody else, and he should be in the 23, I don't care if he's 32. Put the damn 32-year-old on the team. But I'm talking more so like in instances where it's not a problem spot. I don't think that left back is necessarily a problem spot. Right back, maybe arguably, could be considered as such. But Ricardo Thomas, yes, he can use his right foot, but his left foot is his strong foot, I think. So he's a better left back, no? I don't even know. Either way, asterisk. Trevante Stewart, next name on the list, people. Somebody that I've always kept a track on, because I like the fact that, well, I don't like, but you must recognize that he went into the Syria straight from Mount Pleasant. We're very happy for him. But it just didn't work out there. Was not able to get enough meaningful minutes under his belt in that league. So he has since moved on to Serbia. and in the top league of Serbia, his team struggled a bit. But I must say, when you look at his performances at this relegation playoff round, this man is on super form right now. And I think, definitely battering down the door to be in the 23. Trevante Stewart, just to give you an idea, people, he has played 33 games between the league and the relegation round, which is considered league matches as well. He has 13 goals and 4 assists in those 33 games. So he's one of the top performers definitely in his team. That is definitely evidenced by the fact that he has started 100% of the games in the relegation round, so those 6 games, and contributed 71% of the goals in this relegation round. So these final 6 games that they have played so far. I think they have one more match to play on the 24th of May. And that will be the final one in this relegation round. So then when you look at over the 27 games out of the 30 in the season before the relegation round was played, he started 87% of those games, playing 81% of the minutes, and had 30% of the goal participation. So definitely did this thing. Also, not to leave out, he played 3 more matches in the cup and scored 2 goals and an assist. So 3 goal involvements in his 3 cup matches he played. And he only started 2 out of those 3 games. So definitely a big part of this team, keeping them up in the top league, because it looks like, based on their results in this relegation round, they will survive and stay up in the top league in Serbia. So yeah, overall, 15 goals in 36 matches, and add to that 5 assists. So 36 matches, 15 goals, 5 assists. Very good output for Trevante Stewart. Now, don't want to just talk about the stats. I did have a chance to look at some matches with him this season, actually, watch games. I didn't watch, I would say I probably watched about 4 games over the course of the season. And the first thing that really jumped out to me is, I think he's finally figured out that his main attribute as a striker, if he's going to be really successful, is his body and his strength. So often when I saw him in the past, he didn't realize how to utilize his size to create space for himself, whether it's to get off a shot or get off that pass he wants to get off. I've seen vast improvement in that part of his game. Also in his directness when he gets on the ball. It seems like his touches are more set up to have a good final action happen, whether that's a final pass or a shot. So too often in the past, you would see him get the ball and it just seemed like he didn't have much direction of what he wanted to do with the ball when he got it. Another thing that I've seen as an improvement, even though he's a big target striker, he seemed to want to always get the ball running onto goal. Doesn't seem as uncomfortable holding up the play as one time. So I have seen a lot of improvement. In his game this season. As I said, I only watched 4 full games, but I've kept up with the highlights over the season. So I've seen a lot of his games, in terms of a lot of his footage. And the thing that jumps out to me is improvements in areas that I thought was holding him back from his full potential. And I think his confidence as well. Definitely another level of confidence. Just in the way that you see him converting some of his chances this season compared to last. He just looks a lot more assured in front of goal. So Trevante Stewart, I hope I'm not building you up too much so people can cuss you, but I have seen your improvement and I want to big you up. So good job to Trevante Stewart, right? And he's playing in the top league in Serbia. That's not a soft soap league at all. All right. So next on the list, people, I've asked about him straight up in press conferences in the past. John Russell. He is at Barnsley FC in England. Had his most prolific goal scoring season this past season. I believe in total in the league he ended up with 11 goals. It's a marathon in these leagues, so 46 games total. He appeared in 40 of them, had 11 goals and 2 assists in those 40 games. Also appeared twice in the EFL Trophy, 2 times in the FA Cup, and also played 2 times in the EFL Cup. So a lot of games he logged this season, a total of 46 games. In those games, 11 goals and 2 assists. Now in the league, started about 3/4 of the game, 74%. He played 3/4 of the minutes at 75%, and was 19% of the goal participation. Overall for the season, he played 3,113 minutes in the league. So definitely a lot of minutes in the legs over the season. One thing that I love about this for him, he's 24 now. I think, with him being so tall, sometimes with tall players, it might take a little longer to figure out how to manage yourself at that height. I have seen vast improvement in his movement. I think he was doing some off-the-field training that has really helped his lateral movement and just overall stamina. I used to always see him subbing out in the second half of games, like every time. All of last season, he come off 68 minutes, 65th, 70th. This season, brother, this man plays so many 90-minute games. It's unbelievable. So I saw him play for us in small stints before, and I like the player. Based on what he has done this season and his improvement, this player has to be in the coach's mind for this 23. I think that if we have seen what he gave us in small spurts when he wasn't necessarily playing this well for Barnsley, last season or last time we saw him, then for me it's a no-brainer for him to be around this team right now, because he's in the best form of his life. He seems to be in the best physical shape of his life. I can't see anything that would say he's not supposed to be around this list and in this team. So thank you, Mr. McClaren, for putting the player back in the pool, and now do the right thing and put him in the actual squad as well. This Unity Cup could be profitable for Jamaica going forward. You're trying to boss a man. I hear you, but we have to move away from that thinking, says says Jean-Pierre. Yeah, the system thing, brother. We have to just pick form base, man. Players form dip and it go up, and it dip and it go up. So we need to reward those players. Left back is an aging position. Okay. So when heritage players play a boss man, the national team are the same way as a JPL player get a game. So you must say, yo, some of them heritage players, we are boss them too. So be equal with who you're bossing. Yeah, it's always going to be a debate, Travis. It's the way of fans, bro. It's the way of the world, football world. Stuart is a no for me. He already has his chance. Wow. So Energy say, yo, Stuart can't get back in the team. Him no business. When me I say about no kind of improvement. Him now want to see it. Yeah, Rob, I don't get it, bro. Same way how people can't understand why people like me are called back for Flemings because he got so many chances. Or calling back for East because he got so many chances. Brother, I don't, just because a player had chance before, I don't stop watching them, or track them and see what them are doing, If I see improvement in the players, brother, I used to cuss that they pick Javan East every time. I wasn't on YouTube then, so you don't know if I'm telling the truth. But anybody that know me personally, they will tell you that. So when me I talk about East, that's supposed to just show you I can look at and evaluate players in that time. I can't beat Javan East for the 2019-2020 all them time when them pick him and me a cuss. I can't rate him. I can't rate him only on that. I won't forget about it. But I have seen enough of a sample size to say that player that we saw back then ain't the player that we're going to see if we pick him now. Steve McClaren want the people out, so you're going to try please the locals. So you might do it for the fans. Well, from a local born players, them get a chance, they can't improve like T. Stewart and East. No, they can. I have seen Ainsworth improve in the Cavalier team. I have seen him improve, Travis. Well, maybe that's not towards me still. That's just in general. We have a semi-pro league, yeah. Do you understand that? Yeah, I think Energy not going to forgive him for that Canada game when he came off the bench and had to come off the field after that. Have no levels England leagues in the lower level, no better than nowhere else in the world. Okay. Players don't get better after they pass their prime. But Trevante Stewart is 25. I don't know. Or 24. I don't know if Trevante Stewart passed his prime. He's 25. That like a retired league. That's why Ravel never come here. I think Ravel never come here because the wages probably, unless Mount Pleasant, they probably could afford it. Cherry Spencer, that's Don's reasoning. Stewart was young when he left. He went to Europe and got better. That's a fact. JPL leagues and players are going mad, yo. Conrad, can't bother with you. Travis agree with Rob. 23 knows his prime. 15. Yeah, he's 25, which is still not in his prime, I don't think. Football is not a friend thing, it's a performance thing. Well, yeah, so if it's a performance thing, Energy, you have to factor in what we are telling you about the man performance right now. You can't just pre when you see him play against Canada the last time, if that's what you're pre. Yeah, Stuart in the 23 for you. Yeah, me as well. I'm hope you'll keep that energy for the new players coming in. Fair, if you do, I'll be watching the space. I hope. Okay. I think my energy stays the same most of the time, but you can be the judge. Whenever our local players go away, we tend not to follow their progress. Yes, that is a big problem, Chorus, because the Omissions full of them players there. Not mad the World Cup qualifying games big. I don't see him. I will call for the coach get fired. All right. So if you don't see Ravel in that qualifiers, you want the coach's head. Russell for start. Watch a lot of him this season. Yeah, man, he played well. No, sir. Serbia Superliga is Bush League. Plus his team is in relegation zone. I don't think Serbia is Bush League personally. And what is the context? Because if you look at this squad, I have actually written down all the first tier players, and it's only out of 60 players, not counting JPL for Jamaica first tier. Out of the 60 players in the pool, I did the count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Bro, you'll be shocked. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So 14 out of 60 players are in the first tier. And some of them are England, some of them are Mexico, some of them are USA, MLS, some of them are Saudi Arabia. They're all over the place. And one in Serbia. And one in Israel. Thanks for being fair, Jason. That's why I join your shows whenever I see you live. Yeah, man. I really, brother, are the best me say, and you can beat me on who I think is the best. But my best ain't gonna be based on nothing but what I see with my eyeball. That is it. I don't care. I do not care. You always talk about East. Yeah, no me talk about him because I deserve to. But back before I had a YouTube channel or even knew YouTube was going on, I used to cuss Javanese, brother. When he was in that World Cup qualifying squad with Tapa and he played in Mexico, I think it was, I was cussing. I didn't want him to play or be in the team then. But I will advocate for him now because he's better right now than he was then. When I saw East in the CONCACAF Champions League last season, I thought he improved a lot. Yeah, bro, the man played. He was almost unrecognizable how I saw him playing for Saprissa, brother. I swear. I was like, Jono, this is the same player? Yeah, he's 25 now. He just turned in March, yeah. Yeah, man, we should call him, man. Football we are dealing with. Me never say me want him lose money or stop feeding his family, true. That's why a player have to go to country who wants him, not what you fans say. Yeah, but the problem is, Travis, when they go to country that want them, we the fans say it's Bush League. So it's like they can't win. Because if him go big league and don't get game, of course, if him go small league, we say it's a Bush League. So what them supposed to do, Travis? Them should just stay in JPL because they still get picked faster. Russell to start over who? You have Baker, Hayden, Bobby Reed ahead of him. Well, Nitro, the problem is, Bobby Reed injured, So hopefully he's ready. Hopefully he's ready. But if he's not ready, I would start Russell. And play Russell deeper and just show Baker higher, or even play more of like a 2-8s with a 6, And that way we have a little more coverage for players wide who don't love to go back so much. You know what I'm talking about? Russell to start over. Oh, okay, answer that. Reed is out injured. And that, may I tell him, man, it was not directed to you, Jason Reed. Energy. It was meant for energy. All good. Me just a response same way. If Bobby is injured, okay, Russell can start. But Jaja, we in trouble. For real, I don't want Bobby injured neither. Stewart, Boza, Bailey, and Palmer always a joke out the ball game. So those are the 4. Bailey, Palmer, Boza, and Stewart. Jano. Well, energy, sad to say, 3 of those 4 are in my 23. Wasn't the original intention of the quota to act as a conduit for development? If so, why are we selecting older players who have limited room for improvement? Yeah, well, look, I know that's what they say it's a conduit for, El Meeks, but to be totally honest with ourselves, they're going to put 3 in there, 2 to 3. So if we're going to do that, let's at least pick the best pool. I don't care how old they are. Bless up, MF. Thanks for joining, bro. We just go through the 60. It'll take a while though, because we only reached to Bobby Armani Reed. Now, Bobby Reed, I think it's one of those players where people might beat me because you know me. I am going to tell you this is what them do this year and this is what them doing right now and blah, blah, blah. But for me, in the area of the pitch where I see Bobby Reed helping us the most, which is midfield, we don't have the luxury to be so scrutinizing man's minutes in midfield. I am sorry, people, but that is the damn honest truth of the matter of our midfield situation. We got a player in Isaac Hayden who played some under-21 football as a grown man to get some fitness before joining our team. And the man came on the pitch for 10 minutes and people were saying, thank the Lord we have someone that can play CDM in those 10 after 10 minutes. And he wasn't even playing football like that at the time. So even though Bobby Reed got a grand total of 741 minutes in the Premier League this season, which is not what you want to see, and didn't even play a minute in the center of Leicester's midfield, I would be playing him in the center of Jamaica's midfield as long as he recovers from his injury that held him out towards the end of the season. He had to miss the Nations League final against USA, which was a big, big loss. I'm telling you, those games, not saying would I win, but Bobby Reed and the team helped so much. Since he has been back, he has played 90 minutes in every damn game that Jamaica play. The only one he had to sit out was when we were at home to Honduras, and I think that had a lot to do with just fatigue from playing the game in Nicaragua. I think we played that one on turf, if I'm not mistaken, as well. So I think that was a precautionary type of thing why he didn't play in October. Nobody tell me that, but that's just my thoughts. Then he had an Achilles problem in the next window. Maybe it did happen from the damn Nicaragua field. I don't know. But yeah, he was having, ever since that Achilles problem back in November of last year, I think that was really when it started the demise for him in terms of Leicester game time, because after that he went back and got some limited minutes off of the bench and then missed some games just on the bench. Then he finally got a run after, I think it was the time when this madman coach Van Nistelrooy lost a bag of game in a row and he finally gave him a chance and then get 2 assists off the bench. And he got like 3 games on the bounce starting. But, that was short-lived. and yeah, pretty much came off the bench for the rest of the season and then been out since the start of May. So, Bobby, all that being said, brother, you have shown me enough in a Jamaica shirt. I know your technical proficiency level. The man same one ball retention. You're very sure on the ball. At every level I see you play. EPL as well, you keep the ball. So Bobby Reed, I'm going to have to get creative, I look at these situations when we're talking about the midfield. All right. So don't beat me, people. I have to do that for the damn midfield. No trouble players have to get injured for others to step up. Ask Messam, then Bibi Gardner can tell you. Yeah, man. Fit Bobby Reed must start. I agree. Players should come home and play in our big semi-pro league. Oh, they're back now. Okay, my bad. Jeez, I'm Conrad. You just can't stop. That injury killed Messam career. Yeah, it was bad timing for him for sure. Travis Pester, you can only step up if you have the quality. We have not recruited proper subs for the aging players like Pinnock, Antonio, Bobby, and 2 left backs. Yeah, that's a big omission for me. I don't get it, especially seeing that we have called him before when maybe he wasn't in his best nick, and now this man is doing so well, and him can't get a look. It's crazy. Can't play ball retention without my life players. Energy. What a comment. That is so true. All right. So Bobby Reed, look, lean season for you. Get relegated, but guess what? You're in my damn team, sir. 23. Adrian Reed, I know he's been in the system, but this is another one where the system thing, Adrian Reed not going anywhere, people. The man, and I've heard a lot of people saying that he's gonna get a chance overseas to develop after this season end. So I would be totally fine if they said, listen, Adrian Reed ain't in the 60-man pool this time. There are players in midfield in the JPL, if he wanted it to be a JPL player, that to me deserve it more than him right now at this present time. And I don't think as well, even though he's been in some main squads before, I have to asterisk him because I don't think he's gonna be in the contention in the main squad. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I don't think so. I don't think so. So I would have to add him to the asterisk list. So that's the 5th one. But Adrian Reed, one for the future. One for the future. I think he actually looked better last season than this year, to be honest. We're talking about his playoff performances and stuff for Cavalier. I thought he looked better last year. I think Adrian Reed's body is breaking down during this season, if you ask me. He plays every other game. He played brilliant in the first leg against Inter Miami. Body broke down in about the 65th minute. We didn't see him play in the second leg because his body was still broken down. So yeah, he hasn't been starting every time for Cavalier either in big games. He didn't start the second leg, I don't think, of the last game against Arnett. So, it's against Portmore, sorry. I'm trying to see they only have 2 games listed in the playoff. It's not them play. They just beat Arnett too. Okay, so transfer market now update the quarterfinals or the semifinals, sorry. But I think Jean-Pierre, did he start one of the games in the semi or none? It's not just the fans, It's not just the fans, It's the coach himself say it, It's the coach himself say it. It's not just the fans. The coach say him going to a more possession base. He wants to. That's the transition and the change and the tweak in how we play that he want to implement. But he would get there faster if he put the right pieces to do it. Don't you think? Same don't want to lose all of the attributes or the traits that we have, but he does think that we need to implement more possession in the whole structure. All right, so Ethan Pinnock, another one that has had better seasons than this current one, I think, in terms of his overall performance and stuff. But still, based on his sample size for Jamaica, based on when he was in good nick this season, what he's capable of, I would have to say that Ethan Pinnock definitely is in the 23, and for me, is still a starter on the back line. As I said, I while covering the EPL over the season, I was tracking, his role in the team. He lost his spot due to injury. When he got back, he did get back into the team, in the starting team, and played a few games, and then, not due to injury, but due to just the coach wanting to see Vandenberg playing with Collins at centre back, he did lose his place again. And the coach has liked what he has seen from those two centre backs, and Pinnock has been on the outside looking in, of late in the Premier League. I think it's been about 5 games now on the bounce where he has been on the bench. I think it's 5 games it was in total. Yeah, so he had some injury time out as well. So can't go around the fact that he did lose his place initially due to injury. But I think, his consistency this season just has never been quite what it has been in the last 2 to 3 seasons, I would say, even 3-4 seasons. Started out the season a rock, definitely playing every single game. But as I said, I don't think even he himself will tell you some of his performances were not up to his high standard. Then he had the hamstring injury in December, came back for early February, was on the bench, made his first sub appearance the game after that, and then was back in the starting lineup for a run of 5 straight games. And then, it's been 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games actually on the bench with no time off of the bench. And, to be fair, the coach pretty much can be okay with his decision, because they drew with Chelsea, drew with Arsenal, and then had 4 wins on the bounce before losing to Fulham in their last game. So it's not like him being on the bench has coincided with this big collapse from Brentford. So the coach should feel somewhat vindicated in his decision, because they have been getting the results. But again, all that being said, reality is reality at Brentford, but there's also reality in Jamaica football team. And if we're talking about reality, then Ethan Pinnock, regardless of his time off the starting lineup in the Reggae Boys, in the Brentford team, he's still there, I'm not sold on Adrian Reid. He made too many mistakes. Speed rotate his team from season for fatigue, and a lot matches from CONCACAF games. Him now rotate Busy and Calvin and Dwayne Allen. Them man they play every game. Him now rotate King. Him now rotate Leng. So he chooses which ones to rotate. Him now rotate Busy, not in the playoffs. Like it bad for us to want best of the best. Some man just like to censor discussions unless he has an opinion. LOL. They say, if you want to censor, you can't have opinion then. I would trust Grimmy with this squad, not McClaren, who has us looking like nowadays Man U. Open up for attacks and can't score goals. He's the best we got. He's in the squad. Yeah, man. Adrian will get his chance to go abroad since he'll get exposure with Cavalier. No rush for him. Jamaica not good for you because Ravel not called, so why here? Go and support USA. Man, we need you, Wagonist and hypocrite, lad. Travis and Conrad, the war is on. We want to see quality football. I don't think that's too much to expect. It shouldn't be. Grimmy is Romed. He should never coach us. Glad he's gone. Grimmy is a Romed? Really? Cha-cha. Most of you are against McClaren because he not pick the players you all want, so you want the team to fail. No, I think they think the team will fail because he don't pick certain, some players, some other players. You sell out your country by not wanting better. Him say him care zero, boss. Him support Jamaica. Him say him go every home game Jamaica play. What are the likely destinations of players doing well in the Serbian league? Championship, League On? BM, it depends. It depends. I mean, you could go as sometimes maybe like right below top 5, so like Portugal, Netherlands, somewhere like that, maybe as a stepping stone to top 5 or straight to a top 5. Maybe not EPL, but maybe like Bundesliga, Liga, leagues like that. Maybe even French league. McClaren's core is Grimmy's core. The difference is we look better defensively with Grimmy and actually score more goals. Busy Calvin get rotated in the early rounds. No, me I talk about rotation in the playoffs, Travis. Me I talk no. McClaren look like a weeded as well. Jano. Have you dug into the reason why Ravel isn't getting a look in our game time when called up? Yes, and when I dig, all I get is that it's coach's decision. So if there is some grand conspiracy, I have not caught wind of it. They are just saying it's strictly football why he's not being picked, which makes it even more atrocious of a decision. I don't get the obsession with Ravel. This player was hyped as a kid at Man U. However, he hasn't done anything at the senior level. Yeah, look, I don't know, man. The small sample size we got, when he was played in rightful roles and areas and given instruction that can make him be good, he looked good to me, and one of the best I've seen in that role for Jamaica in years. So I don't know. I think we have to get more creative in the midfield areas. We just don't have the ballers in that area of the pitch to say, we give up on people. That's just my take on it still. But everybody now go agree, and that's fine. This Penny have his own mind, and we have thinking on football. Our opinion is different. It's not hype. I ain't one of the greatest ballers in the world. Speak highly of the guy. Yeah. A lot of people speak so highly about him. They say it's mental. All right. Well, I suggest people, it's named, I think the podcast name Under the Cash. Go and watch his most recent interview that he just did. And even the people that interview him were like, they were expecting something so different from what they got in the interview. You know what I'm saying? So people can change, man. People can educate themselves on what they have going on with their mental and do things to rectify, and sort themselves out. I think he has done so. History is his downfall. Yes, it is. All right, let's move through a little faster, people, because we are crawl through this list. We're not even reached the second page yet. All right, so the next player on the list, people, Demario Phillips. So Demario Phillips, another one that probably is around due to system, even though I think his performances were pretty good over the course of the season for Montego Bay. I know there was a time under Zapata where people were worrying, why he not starting and everything. I think since T got there, he's pretty much been starting. Had some little injury issues throughout the season too, which would have held him back. But Demario Phillips, the only issue I have really is it seems like he's most comfortable deeper in the midfield, and he's not the biggest player in the world. And I think because of that, he thinks he needs to make up for it with force on his tackles. And I've seen some rush efforts from him tackling wise. Energetic player though, I think his age goes against him slightly. He's gonna be 27 later this year. The way he plays, you would want him to be further along in terms of his education, development, and overall movement on the pitch. Does waste a lot of his movement too much for me. Just runs around because running is good to do, but it's got to be some kind of method to the running. Where you're running, why you're closing down this space. Is that the space you need to close right now? You have just vacated another space that could be even worse to leave. Those little decisions in terms of his movement, I think he still is trying to get the best of. And I think that's why sometimes you see him making rash challenges, because he may have put himself in that position to have to be rash, right? So Demario Phillips, for me, people, has been in the system. I get it. But I don't know, man. If we are being honest with ourselves, is Demario Phillips in a final 23 for Jamaica? Honestly, is he? I mean, I know he has been, but should he have been? I don't know. I don't know. I won't asterisk him because he's been around, like literally in the main team. So I don't know if it's fair to asterisk him. If we're doing a pool because of what he has done in the past in terms of getting selected, I would think it would make sense for him to be in it. So I'd say I understand him being there, but I again don't know if he needs to. But not as strongly as some of the others with asterisk. So I will leave him off at that list. Casey Palmer, Hull City. Disappointing season, people. Disappointing season for Casey. I I am a player that I am a person that on platforms people have cussed me for defending, because I just feel like he does better than people say he does when they talk about his performances for Jamaica in particular. I don't think he's as bad for Jamaica as people let on to be. If you even look at, like, I know it's not the end all be all of everything, but if you look at even his SOFA score ratings just for Jamaica games, people, I'm not going to put it up on the screen because I've done it before, but just go and look, scroll down and just go to all the games in play for Jamaica. The man is consistently at about 6.8 or above every single time, regardless of if him playing DM, CM, AM, wherever them put him, he's going to be decent in terms of his statistics. When you look at his ground duels, tackles, you're like, wait, it's the same player people say can't tackle because him don't have the strength. And look, my issue with him when he plays deeper for Jamaica is he struggles to get that pace to get away from players. So when he's driving with the ball, he seems to get caught from behind and nicked and he lose possession. I like when he played attacking. He did so in the Panama game. He played a little bit more attacking. There was another game as well in Kingston. I want to say it was the Cuba Nilal. He was really playing well in that game, pulling the strings. And with the freedom of being more in the attack, we saw more of the creativity that we never really see from him when he plays deeper, per se. Now, he can spray and break the lines every now and again, but I think because he can't get away from people, a lot of times he plays the simple option in midfield when he's deeper and maybe doesn't open up enough and get enough time to really spray the pass he would want to spray. So for me, in the squad, but I would really be leaning towards him being a cam. I don't necessarily want to see him playing deeper. And if he's playing deeper, I think maybe it could work now that Hayden is there. But before, it would be him and Latibo there, and it's just too much work because Latibo there don't want the football really in midfield when he plays that level of the field. So with Hayden, being a little more present, even though I think Hayden too can want the ball more from his back line. I think a part of it was the role they gave him. They kind of let Sule McCallum do that more than him. But if we're being honest, we want Hayden being that link, right? And then he can turn on the half turn and get it to the full backs or to the other midfielders or even play something through the lines to one of the attackers, But Casey Palmer for me, underwhelming this season. Thought he could have done a lot more, especially when he first went to Hull. It looked like it was going to work out pretty decent for him. But that kind of was short-lived. Left Coventry early in the season on a deal to go to Hull City, and started out benching most of the time. But at a point in the season, looked like he was going to nail down something. Then there was a long stretch of time where he was out, not in the squad, from December all the way to start of April, basically. And then to close out the season, only got about 3 starts in his last 10 to 12 appearances, with a couple of those games just featuring on the bench, not playing. So overall, Casey, not really the greatest year. Between Championship and AFL Cup, 31 appearances, 2 goals, 4 assists. But still, I think his skill set, technical ability, something that we can still use. And if the coach is serious about this ball retention style going to, Casey Palmer will not hurt with that, right? Now, Shamar Nicholson, people. Shamar Nicholson, I think, is going to be one that when we pick this best 23, going to be a lot of argument, Shamar Nicholson, for me, we know his struggles since he's been to Tuwana. He started out under Osorio, looking like it might have been a decent move for him. Started out coming off the bench, then eventually got his start. When he did get his start, he was producing. He had, multiple assists in a game, scored some goals, or scored a goal as well, I should say. But that pretty much died out. It looks good on paper. 9 appearances, 1 goal, 4 assists. That's not bad. 5 goal contribution in 9 is not terrible. But when you look at the overall amount of games that he could have played, the fact that he only played in 9 of them is something I didn't love. He played in the last, I think, five fixtures they had. He didn't play in 3 of those fixtures, right? So didn't end off the season on any great form. I have seen him posting some videos. He's back in Jamaica doing some personal training, it looks like, trying to get himself ready. I would be surprised if Shamar Nicholson isn't one of the guys taken as like a elder member of the squad when they go to the Unity Cup, especially seeing that his season, he wouldn't have logged the amount of minutes that a lot of the other players in our team might have logged. So, yeah, I would say Shamar definitely for the Unity Cup. And for me, I would have to gauge what he looks like in that competition just to see, do I want him in the Gold Cup squad for the summer? And I know that sounds crazy. He's the leading goal scorer in the entire pool in terms of Jamaican history. But I don't know, man. I feel like it just might be time to realize that if Boza's not on form, we might need to look somewhere else. We just might have to look somewhere else. We might have to. Yeah, I agree. Not an asterisk, but not in the 23. Yeah, man, the band them no bother get personal for real. Man, them can have them argument because that's what this is about. You have to have the discussion, the tough discussions, because people might get a different perspective. You never know. They might not change how they talk, but the next time they talk, they might talk a little better. You never know. At the next conference, see if you can press the coach to give a definitive answer as to why Ravel isn't being selected when we need the skills he's professional to possess in our midfield. Yeah, I think I agree. I am assuming that when the Unity Cup squad is announced tomorrow, there will be some kind of accompanying press conference. I would hope, and I am praying that it is something that I'll be able to virtually attend. They have been doing that as of late for most of them, so I should be able to. But I think that a squad reveal conference is a little bit more the right place to ask about players themselves. Yesterday, I asked a more generic team question because it was the CONCACAF squad. It wasn't really necessarily, the emphasis wasn't necessarily on the squad, even though another guy did ask about Mikel Antonio and, ask about a player. I didn't know if that was the right forum. So I think the Unity Cup one where we're talking about squad and players would be a better forum for that. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see. We'll see if he gets a chance in the Unity Cup. And if he does, I will mention, well, you picked him here. If he does well, you have already told us that he can't go to the Gold Cup. So, what was the thinking behind that? If Ravel is this world-class baller, why every club he goes to, he can't get in the team and the club shows him the door after one season? He only lasted half a season at DC. Something is very wrong. Yeah. It's a hard argument to go against because the facts are the facts. He has bounced around teams like crazy. But again, I just don't see the quality in our setup. Maybe these teams he got bouncing around from had better quality than Jamaica. That's possible. That is possible. Demario Phillips is a low IQ player. Still not seeing any creativity in our midfield. Who's going to play 10 in this current squad? I mean, we don't have that many deeper line, but I would play Baker in the 10. I would play Bobby in the 10. I would play Dimmy in the 10. If you think the future is now, I think Tyrese Hall could play in the 10. I think Mothersil could play in the 10. Top Serbian players usually have to be moved to the championship and second tier of top 5 leagues. Got to. Yeah, that's why I said probably a little below the top 5 first as like a stepping stone. All right, I'm still a cuss. I guess that no post for Phillips. Who is Phillips going to play over? His best chance was last window. Yeah, man, that's what me said too. Him very energetic, brother, but the energy sometimes is him downfall because him run right out of where I'm supposed to be. Yeah, man, keep the personal out tight, man. I'm impressed with Phillips. I'm busy work rate, just need to be fine-tuned. I realize Jamaicans care about hype, nothing of substance. It's not like Ravel was outstanding when he played for Jamaica. I can recall one good game against Suriname, that's it. I thought he was good in the Mexico game at home. I thought he was also good in the Mexico game at Azteca, you know. I mean, I know he gave away the penalty. I get it. But he did other things in the game as well. Peso and crew are sellout. They don't like progress. When in this show, I say, you know, like local baller, call me a dinosaur. Depends on who is there. Casey is in or out. Not an asterisk. Yeah. I would say Casey don't get an asterisk, you know. I wouldn't give him an asterisk. But there's an argument that he might be outside the 23 with the new recruits and everything. But we'll get to that. As a matter of fact, we're going to have to just skip and get to that soon, you know. But maybe want to just go through all the players them first and do this asterisk thing. I want to point out something. All right, so Demario don't get one. Casey don't get one. Then we have Shamar Nicholson don't get one. Malik Madasil, I would not put an asterisk on him. I think he's in League One, which people have been cussing League One in the chat all day. But I think Malik Madasil would be classed as like one of the cream players in League One, especially after this last season. You know, we know his pedigree, his Premier League pedigree in terms of academy level and U21 level. Took a chance going to a League One team, quite a step down from, you know, what he was used to. But, you know, he has proven that if you put in the work, you can reap the rewards. And this season, you know, one Young Player of the Year for his club. And I think he's a finalist for the Young Player of the Year in the entire league, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think I'm right on that. He played a ton of games, people. So when you play in these lower leagues, one thing you're going to do is get fit. 57 appearances this season, people. 16 goals and 10 assists. Predominantly, his main position this season, where he played the most games, was actually on the left of a front three, right? Or like left in the midfield three behind the striker, right? He played 14 games and pretty much ended off the season for the most part playing attacking midfield, right? So very versatile, can also play center forward, played 11 games there, and he scores goals in all the spots. 6 goals at winger, 4 goals at attacking mid, 5 goals at center forward. So anywhere you put the player, he's a goal threat. Also clinical from set pieces. Well, not necessarily set pieces, but clinical from penalties. Had a few penalties I know he converted this season. And I think for him, I think when you talk about what he can do to improve some more, I think like just that final action, like most players 2021, could improve. I think he could have even had more assists this season if some of the times he made that decision instead of the shot. And he might have even scored more goals if he didn't pass instead of shooting on some occasions. So just some of the decision making in the final third can use some work, but I think his overall skill set, his size as well, not a small player, not the bulkiest player, but not weak, has that like wiry strength. Tall player, but these very good balance on him, very agile as well for such a tall player. Good footwork. I think, you know, the long time Jamaica fans, I think, will like his game because he's not afraid to pull out the flair step overs. You know, so I think he's a player that Jamaican fans will actually like because they tend to like more than a player that just work hard. They would like a player to not only work hard but also pile 3 people and try bust salad and those things. Don't think he'll be running around doing all of that all the time. But when he has the ability to drive at players, he does pull out his skill sets a lot. So I think people will like him for those reasons, right? And I think he has the potential as he develops to pretty much develop into a clinical attacking player. You know, he's very good in terms of ball striking. Usually hits the ball really clean. So I think this player is going to surprise people. Maybe not surprise because his name has been making the rounds, especially this season as his numbers increase. But I think this kid don't want to pressure him. I think he's still probably an option off the bench. You know, even though an argument could be made in that 10 role that he could very well start if injuries and form are all taken into consideration. But I would like them to kind of let him get acquainted, get his feet on the ground, and let him earn whatever starting role he would get, right? So I would say a good option off the bench that can fulfill multiple spots in that team. If you want to play more of a center forward like system, he could play there as well. So he gives you options in all four of those areas. Only thing I would say, if you're going to play a main back to goal striker type of player, or you're going for that in your system, I would not put Malik there. I think he would function way better playing off of someone like that. Do you think the local players could look a lot better if they play on good surfaces, or as McClaren says, the difference is down to? No, I don't think it's just about the surface, because we see Clifford Thomas come in the league, a technical player who need the field to be decent. The man don't lose anything playing on the fields he playing in JPL. Education the man I use and just beat people. And technical ability as well. You can't go around that. But brother, the man just see the game differently from all the midfielders in my face. And you wonder how the man just tackle this one, end up this one. The man I read the game, so he's where he needed to be from before. You don't see him making no 30-yard run to try catch people. He's already there tackling the people. Every time they bring up education in football, we all get a lot of fight. Why is that? Because it make we have to speak a little more truthful. And sometimes the truth is not what is wants to be heard for the ego. Travis said, "Don't bring argument from other show to this show. It's a new show." All I'm saying is, why waste time on an aging player who got his chance and flopped? We can't invest in a young upcoming player. I'd rather give Nikhil Ellis a chance, says BM. All right. Yeah, he had a big drop off at Hull, man. It wasn't looking the same. I saw him in his cameos, and he just looked like he was going through the motions a bit. I didn't like what I saw so much. He actually looked like he was starting off the season with some confidence at Coventry, and then they just ship him out. And then it started out decent at Hull, but from December to February, brother, it was just nothing going on. He was out, and then when he came back, it was never the same. All right, so I thought the Unity Cup would be preparation for the Gold Cup to develop some cohesiveness with the team. Well, Andre Moore, it's tough, because a lot of the players that would be using in World Cup qualifier and the Gold Cup, their league finished like the day before, 2 days before, 3 days before. So it's just like the timing of it. It's just not really ideal. So a lot of things that I've heard, Andre, is that this team will be a lot of experimentation with players. So it won't necessarily be the same players that you would see in the World Cup qualifiers coming up right after that. Shamar is still our best striker. He's just in bad form. I would use him off the bench until he regains his form. He has to be in Gold Cup squad. All right, Cygnus, thank you for that comment. I don't know if I totally agree with it, but I understand the sentiment because you have to see what's going on. Peter Mystic, I don't know if I'll take any call today, because I'm already on the 2 hour mark, and really just want to get through the player them, which is proving difficult, John Russell in 10-2. 10-1. Yeah, man. Exciting. I'm worried about Boza. He lost his form for too long. Yeah. Jason, based off the list and what we know of McClaren's system, which players on the list would fit in the best base on their style? Well, that is really what I was going to try to do, because it's 60-man pool and they say we shouldn't cuss because it's only 23 going to get picked. But I want people to say that when we pick, based on who we really want to pick, we're going to find out, say, the 23 not so hard to pick, because we picked about at least 15 man when they have a chance. And then the rest, it's like multiples in positions that they can take 10 of those same positions. So is it really that many players to pick from? All right, Mother Seal, Dimitri Mitchell, 28 years of age now, came through the United system in the academy. He's at Exeter City now in League One. He's an attacking midfielder, has spent time playing left back, left midfield as well. But predominantly in this current state, from what I see and have seen, he is really predominantly playing as a attacking midfielder. Now, the thing that was eye-opening about his inclusion for me was that even though it was reported that the procedure that he did in early March was actually for just like, actually it was not even early March. The procedure would have been done early April or late March, and it was a knee procedure done. So he has been out. His last time on the pitch was March the 22nd. He started and played 76 minutes at left midfield, and he he did not he did not feature again for the rest of the season. Right, his team, avoided relegation. Exeter, they're in 15th position at the end of the table, at the end of the season. Sorry, but this player for me, I was just happy to see him because his pedigree is there. He's a player that can help in midfield. Right, he can play attacking midfield. We just talked about creativity. I think he's a creative type of player. Right, good technical ability. I'm going to be totally honest. I did not know he was on the radar for Jamaica as of now, so I haven't been tracking him playing. But obviously, since the team has come out, I've done some research in terms of what he looked like this season, trying to find clips and highlights of him. Nippy player, good speed on him. I think a player that probably he'll tell you himself thought his career would have gone differently. When you look at his trajectory through the youth ranks, he was U16, U17, U18, all the way up to U20. Playing for England, right? He has made 85 appearances now in League One, 13 appearances in the Championship in his career. So, with only 13 Championship appearances, that's something that, a player that made a Premier League appearance way back, when, he would have thought he would have made much more appearances, at least in the Championship, over his career. But he has not really been able to kick on. He had a big cruciate ligament injury that had him out for a long period of time. And he's just now this year getting back to some form of game time over his career. But yeah, this guy has been to a lot of different clubs. He had some time in Scottish Premiership. He's been quite the world traveler. Been at quite a few clubs: Blackpool, Exeter City. He was at Hearts of Midlothian and Hibs in Scotland, and of course did his time before that at Manchester United. So look, a player that, if he's fit, I think is somebody that we should look at, because it's just another creative type player that can play attacking midfield. The one concern is his other positions that are his main positions are winger roles, and we know that we have basically a backlog of wingers. So if he's being selected as a midfield option, I think he deserves a look. But I have two concerns with him. One, how fit is he? He hasn't played a game since the end of April, or the end of March, and had to do a knee procedure to, drain out some fluid in his knee. And that is after having cruciate ligament injuries in the past. So, fitness will always be something to keep an eye on for Dimitri Mitchell. But in terms of talent, in terms of what I see, in terms of quality he possesses, I think he could help us in the attacking midfield area. So that's Dimitri Mitchell. Fitness concerns and a history of injury concerns would be my main concerns. As far as on the player side, just ability-wise, I think he's good enough. Would help in that whole ball retention that the coach is trying to get towards and get more towards and get more with, right? Next player on the list, Kyle Ming. I do think Kyle Ming is actually underrated as a player in the Premier League, to be honest. I think with him, another player that just, to me, has the physique to be a right back, but he plays better as a centre back. So it's just a player that's a little bit short for me as a centre back. Very good athleticism though, so he doesn't really get caught out in the air so much. And again, similar to Young, just incredible heart, determination, last ditch tackling, blocks, he's going to give you that. I think limited a bit technically though. I think, you see him play more often than not, he takes the long option. And I don't think it's just because he doesn't have an option. He just is, he's a safe player, right? So he's going to kick the ball down the field. We saw that constantly when he was at right back for Jamaica against Trinidad. He just went down that line, or diagonal pretty much every time. Played it central at times to the midfielder, but doesn't really like to take the chance of playing any kind of tight passes. But Kyle Ming, for me, one of the better defenders in the JPL. I honestly felt like when he was at Cavalier, there were many times when I'd watch him and King play, and I think Ming better than him, and that still hasn't really changed all the way for me. I think King just looks. It's more like aesthetically nice. Like it looked nice at how him glide and run and but Ming defensively, I would almost pick him ahead of King in terms of just defending. Now, when you factor in McClaren's style, I think that's where Kyle Ming for me deserves an asterisk, right? Because he's not enough of a ball playing defender to be warranted in this new system that McClaren trying to bring. So for that reason, I'm gonna say Ming. I like the player, but we're talking about the coach and what he want. And for me, he get an asterisk because I don't think the coach is looking his way for a final 23. No way. Now, Soleil McCullough, people, you might be upset that I am going to give him an asterisk, but I'm telling you the God honest truth. I don't think after the last set of games with St. Vincent that the coach would put him in the 23. I honestly don't think he would. So I'm giving him an asterisk. I know that might be harsh on Sule because he actually did play the last time in a game that mattered and he started. But brother, nah, it ain't happening. You have a lot of things going against him. He's 33 in November. I don't think he has been that great. I think he's played better as a right back when he plays. I don't think he's been that great in midfield for Mount Pleasant. As a matter of fact, I think if Tapa is honest with himself and he start the best team, I don't think Sule McCullough starts for Mount Pleasant right now. I just think he doesn't want to mess up the chemistry stuff because he is the captain at the end of the day. So, but I think they literally put him on the field and they hide him. He doesn't really touch the ball. He affect the game off the ball, out of possession more than anything. Next up on the list, big fat asterisk going by his name as well, just because I don't care how much him in the continuity, him in the system, blah, blah, blah. This man not on no form to make no 23, and that is Tariq McGee, people. No disrespect to the players left on the list, but I need to move a little faster at this point. So Tariq McGee, I'm going to put you in the asterisk level. Interested to see what happens of you this summer. I know, you came back, got some fitness with Veer. They got relegated. I would be shocked if you were playing Tier 2 next year. So let's see if it's just a move to another JPL club or Butler, like he says, gets you an opportunity overseas, right? Next player on the list is Jamal Lowe. Now, Jamal Lowe, people, have to be honest, I have taken many beatings from many people that think heritage players are not getting enough beating from fans because I'm always defending Jamal Lowe. And I think this is going to be the first time where I don't think anybody can beat me. Maybe the other people now that think that the local players don't get enough beating, they will beat me for this take. But I honestly feel like Jamal Lowe is not merited to be in the 23 to go to the Gold Cup based on what I have seen of him this season. I think he was in a Sheffield Wednesday team that if Jamal Lowe is playing to his top capability, he is a contributing player in this Sheffield Wednesday team. And over the course of the season, he was just not able to be regularly enough involved in games for me to include him. He started 26% of the games all season. He only played 23% of all the minutes that were played all season in the championship, and he was 8% of the goal participation. So, he had 3 goals, 2 assists in 24 appearances. Predominantly made his appearances playing through the middle as well. They had he also, basically he played either up top supporting striker, and he did have 1 appearance in the attacking midfield role as well. So he wasn't really playing as much left and right. So in that sense, if he was playing any football, I would say he would be in the pecking order or in the mix, because I would just call him as a centre forward and done, and just say, yes, we have wingers, we have winger cover. You have certain skill sets we might like as a change of pace to the other CFs we have, but I cannot warrant it, people. I can't. I mean, we're talking about no appearance since 45 minutes. A start in the end of March, I think it was, against Cardiff. And let me just make sure it was actually a start, because it might have been him off the bench for 45 minutes. Let me check. But yeah, it just wasn't consistent enough. Started out the season, I thought it was going to go well. I mean, he started in the first game of the season, scored a goal as well, but just never gathered any momentum. Started the next 3 games. Then he was out of the squad for a game with a little niggling injury. He was on the bench for the 2 games after that. And then when he reappeared in the start of October, he was on the bench. Then he started, then on the bench, then he started. Then he was on the bench. And then from that point on, it was very rare for him to start. He started a couple of games in December. He started, a game end of January. He started a game start of February. And then he also started a game, the last game he played, which was the end of March 29th. And then he wasn't in the squad up until the third to last game, where he was just on the bench, and the last game he was on the bench. So, look, I think Jamal Lowe, talent-wise, in the pecking order, no question. But I think with the addition of some strikers to the pool this time, I think it's safe to say that he will not probably be in the final 23. I wouldn't put him in there just based on form. I don't think he's going to get picked as a wide player, right? And I think we have some new attacking midfield options. We have some new center forward, well, new / old, because they might have been there before and they're back now, that I would probably be looking at over Jamal. I think for me, if you're gonna be the age profile of Jamal at this point and get called, then you have to be showing me something in your respective leagues. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't go as far to put him in the asterisk level, because I just wouldn't. But I don't think he's really going to be in this 23 when all is said and done. But let's see once we get there and pick. Maybe I have to put him in. I don't know. All right, Damian Lowe, First Division, Saudi. I think he has 1 more game to try and keep his team out of relegation over there in the Saudi League. But to be fair to Damian Lowe, he has been one of the few brighter sparks for his team. They're really struggling in the league to score goals and everything, but he has had a decent year in terms of his statistics. 4 yellows, 1 red in his 22 games. So, for Damian, that's not so bad. In terms of yellows, he usually has about 10 or 8 to 10 yellows in that amount of games, but that's a good sign. That's calmed down a bit. I think actually on the ball he has gotten better. If I'm being totally honest with you, when I watch him play in this league, yes, his team is under pressure, but he's not one of the ones that seem to be panicked. He's getting a little bit more composure on the ball. It's still a bit too panicked for me at times, and I think his trust level of his teammates just needs to be ramped up a bit. I think sometimes he just doesn't want to take the risk to play the pass. like a shorter pass. He'll just rather say, okay, if I kick it long and we lose it there, we can regroup, which is good to have the safety, but sometimes you have to have belief in your teammates as well. I think Damian Lowe makes the best 23 for me. It's probably going to be 4 centre backs, and I think he's in the top 4 of the centre backs currently. If certain players weren't injured, maybe there's a conversation to be had, but I think right now, I would have to say Damian Lowe would be 23 and obviously make the 60-man pool. Dexter Lembikisa, same goes for him. Glad to see that he was at Barnsley towards the end of the year getting some minutes, because I think Dexter is one of those players where if he's playing any times at all before he comes to Jamaica, you see the best version, right? The only times I've really cussed him is when, he hasn't been playing much and you kind of see the fatigue start to show up, and then what ends up happening is he can only play one of the games in the window, and then the other one we're kind of searching and trying to see who can fill in the blanks. But yeah, he's been there for about 17 games. Didn't get many starts, to be fair. Just being honest, he made 12 appearances to end off the season. I know it doesn't sound like much, but that's good, because he only got there right at the end of the window in the start of February. Started out right away, getting time off the bench in the first 6-7 games. Then he wasn't around for a few. I think that would have been around the March window and everything. And then when he got back from that, closed out the year with a couple of starts. I think he started the last 3 games of the season, which was good to see. And yeah, Dexter Lembikisa, not really being challenged much at that right back spot, which is a concern, but he's there, so that is good to see. Gregory Lee, Oxford United. I think this season for him was a good season. I think he would be happy with the playing time, leading into the promotion last year. While playing a lot towards the start of last season, he kind of lost his place towards the end. So it was good to see him able to kind of fight and get it back for this season. He is 30 years of age, will turn 31. So I think that was to Rob Smith's point a bit earlier that, perhaps some of these positions where we do seem like we're, good to go, we might not be as good as we think, because there is, some heavy age on the players in those positions, right? So that is Greg Lee, like I said, championship level. They stayed in the league. He started about half the games that they played this season in the league, 52%. He played 56% of the minutes. He had 6 goals, 1 assist in 34 appearances, not bad returns. Let's look at the performance real quick. All competitions, 24-25. Yeah, so since he was out the squad with injury since February, when he got back into the setup, he had 3 games off the bench. Then he started the last 2 games of the season at left back. So predominantly this season, apart from earlier in the season, he has played the bulk of his minutes at left back. Did play 3 games off the bench in the league. Did start 3 games, in the league at a point this season at left midfield, and some of his sub appearances this season he has filled in at left midfield as well. So can kind of play that left midfield role as well. I personally like him more as a defender. I know he tends to score goals and stuff, but I think the type of goals he tends to score in League One, I don't know if Jamaica is going to score those type of goals. Just being honest, it's not like he's taking shots from distance. They're mainly, I guess he could score from set pieces, like he did the last time on the long throw. But I wouldn't say. I know he can do a job in a wide role, but I wouldn't say in Jamaica style he would really work there, because we rely a bit too much on the 1v1 aspect of the wide players, and I don't see him being able to beat players 1v1. Don't have that type of skill. So Greg Lee, some say he passed Amari Bell in the pecking order. For me, I still have Bella slightly ahead, but look, I can understand picking one or the other. I don't think they're that far apart, to be honest. I just think Bell is a little bit cleaner on the ball, and I think Bell is actually a better defender overall. So That's why I would give him the slight edge. Then we have Joel Latiba there. I think he makes the team. One of the few heritage players, as long as he's not playing in midfield, I think people like his game. They like his fight. I don't think anybody can say he's not the ugly C word, right? I think his commitment can't be questioned. Joel Latiba there did have a bit of a lead into the season. I think after having a long stretch of games under Lampard in the team, he kind of closed it off, struggling to get the game time. And they fell just short at the hurdle of the playoffs, didn't quite make it to the didn't quite make it to the playoff finals at Wembley. So he's up to 24 caps for Jamaica now. Wow, he's getting there fast. But yeah, he made 33 appearances, starting 63% of the games, playing 62% of the minutes, did not have a goal or an assist. Also made an appearance and actually scored a goal in the FA Cup. Also made 2 appearances in the EFL Cup. So a total of 36 appearances this season. Did end off the season healthy, which is good. Did have a couple of niggles throughout the year that caused him to miss some time, but good to see that he ended off the season in good physical shape. And he played about just over 2,500 minutes in the championship. So more than enough in his legs. You know my stance on him. I mean, even though he did make one defensive midfield appearance this year, I don't want to see him in the midfield anymore, people. I want him to play right back, left back, center back. I don't care where. But when he's on the pitch, please put him in the defense line. I think that's where you'll get the best from him. I think he's one of the players that will help with this whole ball retention push we're doing. So let's put him in a role that he can influence the ball retention, right? So center back would be a nice role for him, I think. All right, Giovanni Leng, King's center back partner. Even though I think if you're gonna pick a JPL defender in the mix, right, I would have Giovanni Leng as somebody in that mix. We know that King is number one in the pecking order in the mind of the coaching staff and the technical team. So is it fair to put an asterisk by Giovanni Leng? You know what? I'm not going to put no asterisk by Leng because I like the player and I think he actually, if you're going to put a JPL center back, he could have been one of them. So I'm going to leave him right there. Richard King, he deserves to be in the 60 for sure based on his exploits in the JPL, CONCACAF Champions Cup, Caribbean Cup, all these competitions. Best 23, that's a debate. But for me, Richard King in the 60s is a no-brainer. Gennaro Johnson, people. Gennaro Johnson, one of the players I'm extremely happy about seeing in the team. Been hearing about the player now for a couple of years. I think John Wall is the first time I heard the player's name mentioned by anybody, affiliated with the Jamaica team. We heard a lot of stories about what happened as far as him actually representing at the youth level. Won't get into that, but I think from what I understand, that Gennaro actually had all the things ready from back then, right? Now, let's be honest about the kid. I'm going to show you guys because some of you might not be so familiar with who he is. So let me just put it on the screen so that nobody can say I'm trying to hide the truth. Gennaro Johnson, right? He's a player for Ajax under 19 team. He also plays some time in, where is it? I know he has made some appearances for young Ajax as well. So that's like the reserve team, right? Where did I see that? I saw somewhere where it had everything listed off. It looked like transfer market only showing him U19. Yeah, he's made 12 appearances in the Arrested Division. That's what I thought. So I don't know why they're not showing the Arrested Division on here. Let's see. Let me just check something before I change over. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, so let me change this over then, people, because he has made some appearances in the Arrested Division. I don't know why it's not showing. Let me see if it's showing this one. I'll just switch over to SofaScore. I wanted to show you guys so you could see the itemized minutes and everything. So I'll show you that first. So is this what they're calling the Arrested Division? I wonder. Yeah, I think that's what they're calling it, you know. I think that's why. So I'm calling it by a next name on here. That's what's throwing me off, people. All right, yeah, so that is the Arrested Division. So that is where young Ajax would play, and that is the reserve team of Ajax, right? So they have teams that just not quite making it to the top division, the Eredivisie, and then have others like, you know, the reserve team of the top teams, right? So he's playing for young Ajax in this division. Recently made the move, you know, was playing more, you know, U19 earlier this season, but has, you know, not been in the squad with them and has made that permanent move up to the Arrested Division. So they're definitely seeing some improvements there. Now, when you look at the games that he's played, you know, he started out getting a couple of minutes and he got a start at centre back in a win. Played this game as well for 74 minutes at centre back. And actually, let me show you guys, because SofaScore does have the actual stats for these games that he has played. I'm gonna just show you guys what's going on with Gennaro Johnson, because as I said, this was one of the more exciting ones that I saw. Just because he's in Ajax Amsterdam system at 17, playing, getting promoted from U19. You know, he's a captain in their youth system as well. I mean, this guy is a player that they're looking at as a future player, right? So it's a big coup for me to get him. You know, I know this ain't the right way to go about things, maybe, but even if this kid ain't ready, I would be tempted to put him in the Gold Cup squad and cap him. I swear. All right, young Ajax. So this is how they started the game. You see, Gennaro Johnson came on in the 66th minute. And he had quite an impact in his time on the field. You see, let's just click on it here. So he came in for this gentleman right here. So he clearly came on, and let's see the heat map to see if it was a like for like. Yeah, so based on his positioning, he was playing somewhere in that midfield area, probably as a part of a two or a pivot. He was 11 for 12. 1 of 1. One dribble was successful. He went into 6 duels, won 5 of them. Only lost possession twice. He was fouled 3 times, made 3 clearances and a tackle. And this was all in a cameo appearance. And you can see, you know, where he touched the ball, where he influenced the game. And his statistics in a short period of time gave him a 7.1. The game before that, he started against MVV. And I believe he played in the same role. Yep, right in the midfield. He got a 6.7 this time. And, you know, 75% passing. Tried a dribble again. 2 of 4 ground duels. Lost the ball 6 times. Committed 2 fouls. Once was fouled. No tackles. Don't love to see that as a CDM. And he was dribble past once. And clearly in this game, played more minutes, but wasn't nearly as influential, right? Then the game before that, he would have played Hellman Sport. This is the lowest rating that I see so far since he's gone up to this league. And yeah, it looks like he came on off the bench for the same guy that he came on for before. So it looks like they have like 3 players playing this CDM role at the young Ajax, and he's trying to work his way into one of the starting roles of the 3. In this particular game, he did come off the bench again. So it looks like 4 of them, because this Rega guy wasn't seeing him before. So yeah, they have players like Dirt. He came on for Bowman in this one. And I think Bowman, if I'm not mistaken, is like, It's either he has a big brother who's supposed to be a baller, or he's like one of the most highly touted ones, Bowman. I remember him getting game time with the main team at 17 as well. So he's in that age group with him. But he got a 6.3 in this game. And it looked like he would have come on. Tommy said, fat brother. Yeah, so he came on in midfield in this one. And didn't have the best performance. 1 of 2, only 2 duels, 1 tackle. All right, then he had a good one against the Graph Shop, 7.0. Let's see. So it looks like in this game, he came on in the 66th minute and played some centre back. They lost the game 2-0. So he's getting time at both centre back and CDM. I think for what Jamaica needs currently, I'll be looking at him in that CDM role. I think that's where we would kind of need his services the most. Played Vitesse. Came on at centre back again. Before that, Gennaro Johnson played in midfield in a 3. And you see him getting forward as well. So, look, this guy can just play football, right? He's 17 people, but that 17 might be a little bit misleading because his size, he looks like he's pretty much a big man currently. He's over 6 foot. He's listed 5'11" here, but he's taller than that. And this is what I wanted to show people as well. Look what he was up to in March when we were playing the Gold Cup prelims. This man is representing Netherlands at the U18 level, starting at centre back. So, you know, and I don't know if he was the captain, but I know he captains the U19s for Ajax. So he could very well have been the captain here as well. Another Clivert youth in the pipeline coming up that he played with in this game. So I don't think people understand the level of this pickup. I mean, yes, the benefit of it might not be seen immediately, but I'm telling you, people, if we do the right thing and just take everything off the table, even if it's just for a political reason, people, I am putting this youth in the 23. And I can even make an argument, you see, because we're still light in the central defensive midfield. I can make an argument. Take him to the Gold Cup, let him learn off of Hayden, learn off of these players, be around the older guys, you know, and give him some game time as well. Give him some game time as well. It is not far-fetched to be giving a player like this game time, knowing our midfield situation. So, look, Gennaro Johnson, I'm not saying he's going to come and just be a world beater, people. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying the pedigree looks good. Very, very good. And I like what I'm seeing. This guy was brought up in the Ajax Amsterdam system. Put the kid in the team for the Gold Cup. Bring him on in 3 matches. If you don't think he's ready for play, just bring him on, cap him, and continue to track his progress moving forward. Track his progress moving forward. Please and thanks. I think that would be very prudent of you. So please do that for me, Jamaica Football, or Mr. McClaren and technical team. Gennaro Johnson in the 23. Yes, please and thanks. All right, Gadil Irvin, Mount Pleasant. We have a left back shortage, but I don't think Gadil is going to be in the 23. So for me, it's a wasted pick. So I'm going to say asterisk. I actually like Gadil Irvin. Don't think he's a bad player. But I think there's another left back that has youth on his side and might actually be, if he's not better than Irving, it's close enough to where I would give the edge to the youth. So, yeah, I would say Irving is just a pick that's there because we want to have a certain amount, even though they're not going to get picked for the main team. So, asterisk goes besides Gadil Irving. Malik Howell, Las Vegas Lights USL Championship. very, 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 very baffling that we had a window where we called the player in, and he got no game time. He got no game time on the field. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't understand it. I heard some foolishness about he was struggling to pick up the system that we want to play, and I'm thinking, damn, what kind of astronaut system this man play? Like, why a guy that is educated in tertiary levels in the US, educated in Jamaica as well, playing in the USL Championship with systems and different coaching, and he couldn't pick up a system in a certain amount of time? I don't get it. I don't get it. I was shocked to hear that town teams are not treating so-called country ballers poorly. What kind of madness is that? Yeah, man, it's crazy. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It look like my channel a grow, Dre. They might put my family in a team now. Can them say you're not a big YouTuber unless you have family in the team, them. So I am a big YouTuber now. Put some respect on my name. All right. So Malik Howell, no asterisk, no nothing. Outside shot at a best 23, because people need to remember that he can play right back as well, where we have some issues, right? Everton FC will be returning from loan Mason Holgate, right? So Mason Holgate, time not on his side, he's getting up there, but it's not to the point where it's the point of no return. He's now what, 28? He'll be 29 in October. So yeah, it's not terrible for a centre back, right? He probably has this cycle and maybe a next if he can stay at the top level. But Mason Holgate, I think he's right there for the best 23. I know that some are already disillusioned with him based on his long passing in that game and the red card he picked up. But I want people to go back and watch the game, look at the defending, look at how many times he actually saved us with defending, which actually might happen when you're playing for Jamaica. So just keep that in mind. You put more ball retention players around him, you get better ball retention from him. That's all I would say on Mason Holgate. And I know people probably going to say that's the excuses you guys make. It's not an excuse, it's a reality. It's just what it is. All right. So Mason Holgate, for me, deserved in the 60-man pool, and I will be putting him in the best 23. Isaac Hayden, same goes for him. I can just imagine what we're going to get out of him. See Energy saying Holgate can stay home and rest. I know that he divides opinion a lot. So Energy, I understand your opinion, boss, but I have my reasons why I say that. Based on what the coach is talking about, he wants the team to play like. Mason Holgate is definitely somebody you would want in that type of system. Isaac Hayden, just looking forward to him this summer, because what he was able to bring with limited game time, now you're adding that he's been regularly playing for Portsmouth to end off the season, has gotten his rest from May 3rd was his last game, so I think he should be nice and fit and fresh. Any little niggling injuries he might have had at the end of the season should be able to nurse that. So yeah, I think Isaac Hayden due for a good summer for us. I think we will love having him in the Gold Cup in that tournament, and also having him play his first World Cup window ever for Jamaica. I think that should be nice as well. Then now, my cousin, my brother, my family, Mr. Tyrese Hall. Yes, Tyrese Hall, he is from Tottenham Hotspur, and he is a member of Tottenham's U21 setup. So I remember seeing some write-ups in the off-season about Tottenham players and in the academy and the system. And Tyrese Hall was one that they had high hopes for, one that they were talking about potentially breaking through. He was one of the players, as well as Mikey Moore, among others. It did not quite work out that way for Tyrese this season. If we're just being honest with ourselves, they had a lot of injury issues this season, but it still was not enough to get Tyrese into that pecking order, right? So, look, it's not the easiest team to break through into, so we can't go around that fact, right? It is a Premier League club. But based on what they thought he might have been able to do, I think some people were surprised that he wasn't able to at least make a bench or something this season. They made a lot of changes when it comes on to some of the Europa League matches they played, when they played an EFL Cup match or FA Cup match, there was very much some changed teams being used. So, yeah, you would have liked to have seen him get an opportunity. But at his level, at 19 years of age, won't be 20 until September. It must be noted that, he's done a very good job in Premier League 2. He played 17 matches in that league and had 5 goals and 4 assists. And let me make sure that this is not overall and this is actually this season. Okay, yeah, so this is actually this season. So he's played 20 games overall, 3 in the EFL Trophy and 17 in Premier League 2. And he has 5 goals, 6 goals and 4 assists over all competitions. So 10 goal contributions in 20 games. His favorite position or most played position this season has been attacking midfield. He's also been used in central midfield and a couple of games as a DM. Can also operate as a left midfielder, right wing, left wing, right? He also has 2 appearances this season playing as a center forward. Now, those performances at center forward mainly came about when they had some issues in their squads. So it's not really somewhere that the coaches see him as a full-time person. I think they see him as a central midfielder, but mainly as an attacking midfielder. And towards the end of the season, he was also getting a bit more responsibility at the U21 level, captaining the team. So Tyrese Hall, one that is definitely high up on the list of Tottenham youth. He has a contract all the way until 2029, so I think they're going to have some patience with him. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see Tyrese Hall, if he can't break through to the first team, getting a loan move, which I think will really help him. I would love to see him get a year in League One or Championship level, just to see how he functions there. But for me, again, because I have seen the trajectory of these players just change overnight. I mean, we're talking about the likes of like Nico O'Reilly, Miles Lewis Skelly. Obviously, Nico eligible to play for Jamaica, but that ship probably is going to sail now. So when you have the chance and the players commit this early, it might be controversial, but I would put him in the damn Gold Cup team too, and give him 3 caps. I would. I swear I would do it, because I just don't want to take the chance of 2-3 years from now, he breaks through, he's in Tottenham's team, he's playing attacking midfield, he's playing wherever, and he's putting in shifts to where the coach of England wants to call him now. And even if they don't call him, he's putting in shifts to where his handlers, his agents, his family members are saying, hey, you have a chance for England if you keep this up. So we need to, if the players say they want to play, gosh damn it, play them. I know it's tough, because you're thinking, well, why we can't do that for other people? But the thing is, there's no concern of other young players leaving and playing for anybody else. But some of these players, the likes of Johnson for sure, and Hall for sure, because they're playing in the England youth teams right now, we can't project that all of them will turn out like Dimitri Mitchell or Joel Latibodier, who just lost their way in the England setups. That won't happen for all of them. Some of them will not lose their way. And when they don't, we are going to be the same ones cussing, saying why we don't have them locked up. So for me, controversial, but Tyrese Hall in my damn 23. Sorry. Caps, people. Daniel Green, a player I have a lot of time for, but a player who is going to end up on my asterisk list. Again, we have to scrutinize the players where we have more options in. Daniel Green plays winger, attacking midfield. You can argue maybe the attacking midfield is not so deep, but the wingers is. So for me, Daniel Green, I actually rate you as a baller, but I would not have you in no 60-man pool, because the coach ain't picking you in no final 23. Robinho Garden, another one I have time for. Scrutinize a little less, because it's right back. We need players at right back. Scrutinize a little less, because he's very young, just turning 20 this year in November. So that puts some points for him. Now the points against him, experience. Just don't see him, especially since like he had the chance in the Trinidad games to really play him a lot, and he didn't play him like all the time. He went with Kyle Ming basically both games as the starter. So, you know, if he's going to lean towards a right back option from JPL, I would say that there's just players ahead of him still. You know, Kyle Ming, even Sule Makala, that, you know, he's been picked ahead of him. So Robina Garden for me gets an asterisk. I know Travis will say no way because they're relegated. That's not why I wouldn't pick him. I just think that he's just a little far off from getting picked in at 23. So I don't see the point of putting him in at 60. That is my thing. Is Robina Garden a winger or a number 9? He's neither. He's a right back or a centre back. Nikhil Ellis, Racing United, probably the best attacking midfielder this season overall in terms of performance, output, everything. Good player, very good player. I think very raw still. He's just 21, just turned 21 in May. Actually, he just turned 21 the other day, a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, he is good player. I just don't know if I don't see McClaren picking anybody in the final 23 that wasn't around for his like camps that he's had already. And I think Ellis might have just missed out on all of those. So the noise has gotten loud enough to where he's in the conversation now. But I'm going to give him the asterisk. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to give him the asterisk. You know why? He passes the test of scrutiny because it's that area of the pitch, that attacking midfield area. I don't think we have an abundance, so we have to keep open eyes with those areas and just find people. So I'm not going to put an asterisk for Ellis, but Gordon go and get it. Javon East, no asterisk in my best 23. Kaim Dixon, because the coach could potentially put him in the 23, I won't give an asterisk. But for me, you know, we have another player from his team in Charlton that I think should be ahead of him on all areas because we have seen them in the same environment and one gets a lot more chances, right? Shaquan Davis, for me, won't get an asterisk because he's been picked, but I think he just misses out on the 23 because Tafari Chambers, who has taken his role in the playoffs, I would put him ahead of Shaquan Davis. They're the same exact age. I know Davis has had chances in the past, but why not give Chambers the same chance and see what McClaren thinks of him in a camp, see what the goalkeeper coaches who work with the national team think of him in a camp, and compare it to what they've seen with Shaquan, and then you have the conversation again. But it shouldn't be an argument that Shaquan should go just because he's been in all the last ones. That's not how it should go. Go based on form, go based on who's playing better. Tafari Chambers came back, took the role. I heard he was just getting rested for the playoffs. Playoff start, Tafari Chambers still a play. So I don't buy that for a minute. But anyway, they both don't get an asterisk. I think they are the two best goalkeepers from what I've seen in the Premier League. There could be an argument for, of course, the Waterhouse goalkeeper. There could be an argument for Benjamin Williams. There could be a couple of others, but for me, consistency-wise, what I see, age level, all those factors, I would say those two right now are sitting above the rest. All the other ones that are really good in the league, I think, come from somewhere else. You know, either whether it's Trinidad or Saint Lucia, right? So yeah, that is it. Ronaldo Cephas also deserves to be in the pool. The 23, it's going to be a convo, but I think he probably makes the 23 as well. But right now, I'm going to say Ronaldo Cephas for sure. Tyrese Campbell, another new player, people. So if you notice, I've been kind of highlighting the ones that we haven't seen before. So let me go ahead and show you guys Tyrese Campbell. I think some of you who have been following the recent rumblings around the YouTube would have seen his name popping back up again. Or popping up for the first time for some. So yeah, it's the fact that that has happening that is good news. Yes, Tyrese Campbell, he did play a couple games in the playoffs, started both games, played almost all the minutes, right? He played 44 appearances this season in the league, in League One, out of a possible 46. He had 7 goals and 1 assist, right? He played 80% of the time from the starting 11 and 79% of the minutes overall. He also made 3 appearances in the EFL Trophy, scoring 1 goal. He made 2 appearances in the FA Cup. Out of 3 possible appearances, he scored a goal there as well. And he made 1 appearance in the Carabao Cup. So total over the course of the season, let's just talk about his overall numbers, minutes, all of that. His overall... All right, I know I won't switch the screen, but I'm looking at it, people. I'm just telling you what it says. Believe me, I'm not making up anything, all right? And you guys can check. I'm looking at Transfer Market. I'm on Tyrese Campbell stats for 24-25. And overall, in all competitions, he played 52 matches. He has 9 goals and 1 assist over those 52 games, playing 3,698 minutes. So one thing about these lower leagues, as I said before, they are going to get you damn fit, right? And when you look at his time throughout the season, consistently in teams, in squads, very durable player, not one moment off of the team this year for any kind of injury reasons. Not the tallest player in the world, but very powerful in his body, strength, very good speed, decent trickery, plays left side typically, but can play off the right as well. Strong with both feet. Just a very good player. I know he's in League One, so people might frown on that, but he's in League One at the right age. He's 21 years of age in League One. So this is definitely a stepping stone for him, and I do expect him to definitely ply his trade in much higher leagues in England before it's all said and done. But Tyrese Campbell, loving to see these kids commit this early. Again, we might be filling up the team with these people. They might be upset with me. But another one that I would say, not even just to cap, I think on merit, he can be in the winger pool to go to the Gold Cup. I think on merit, he could. Now, the fact that he's out of the playoffs, I think it would be smart of the coach to go ahead. I mean, even though he needs time off, he's a young boy, so maybe he'll say, listen, you want me to prove myself? Put me in this damn Unity Cup team and let me show you what I can do, right? The next player on the list is Norman Campbell, having a very, very good ending to his season this year. Randers is in the, in some of these countries, they have the playoff round or the championship round, which they have gotten to know over there in Denmark. So he has 3 goals and an assist in 8 games in the championship round. So he's really stepping up. Very similar to what we saw from Trevante in Serbia. But this is in Denmark, people. And he has 27 appearances overall this season. 7 goals and 1 assist. And actually, one was the Future Cup. I think he was just playing those games to get back some fitness. But he did play a game in the Future Cup with the reserves back in, I think it was November. Maybe they had some issues down there with players. They needed players. And then in the cup, he did make an appearance off the bench in a loss, playing 29 minutes. So, yeah, in all competitions, he has played 27 games, 7 goals, 1 assist, predominantly playing off the right. We have seen of late, though, in this championship round that he's in, he has been playing more games at center forward in kind of a more of a 4-4-2 type of system. And he's just playing a striker with another striker, right? So, Norman Campbell, for me, in Jamaica's setup, how we play, I would say he's a winger for sure. And one thing that you can't take away from him is his endeavor, his work rate on the pitch. One of the few wingers I've seen for Jamaica that does not emphasize the attacking side more than the defensive side. Seems to take equal pride in carrying out all the duties, right? So that's something for me that kind of tips the scales in his favor when you're comparing him to some of our other wingers. And that's something that I think Tyrese Campbell will also bring to the table as well. I guess it's a Campbell thing. So Norman Campbell, for me, deserves to be in the pool and definitely deserves to be in the convo for the best 23 to go to the Gold Cup. Ramon Burrell. Now, this player is probably the one of all the players I saw selected that I knew the least about, right? So a lot of times, I'll have somewhat of an idea of all the players that we could potentially have to play for us, right? This is one that definitely slipped through my radar. I remember seeing the name on some list because there's a list out there of potential players that people kind of add to when they find more. And I remember seeing the name, but I'm not going to lie to you people. Until this squad dropped, that's when I started to really do research on the player and look at clips and find clips. So yeah, I was not aware of, this player even being interested or playing or none of that. He has 34 appearances for Burton. He's in League One as well. So it's like League One is where we're getting the success with the paperwork right now. 34 appearances made this season, 30 in the league. He had 11 goals and 2 assists in the league alone. He played 3 games in the EFL Trophy and 1 in the EFL Cup, did not score or assist in them. Had a up and down season, I guess you could call it. Started out the season on the bench, had a few sub appearances, then he wasn't in the squad for a long stretch of time from September all the way to the end of November. Came back, and from that point on, in basically the start of December, when he got his first start of the season, he has been pretty much a mainstay in the team since then, starting the bulk of those games, a few sub appearances as well, but also closed off the season strong with 5 goals in like his last 10 fixtures. But yeah, definitely slow start to the season, but good thing to see is that it looks like his fitness and form has peaked right towards the end. You know, he was out of the squad against Charlton, which I thought was a bit surprising due to the form he was in, but it was really just a precautionary thing. He probably could have played if it was like, you know, a crunch game that would make them not get relegated. In the end, I believe that they were able to survive, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just make sure. The same, they finished 20th, and I think that's just about safe. I think that's one above relegation. I think it's 21, 22, 23, 24 go down. Yeah, so Burton just escaped it, but they were mathematically safe, I think, going into that last game, if I'm not mistaken. So let me see. Burton lost and couldn't have gotten caught by any other players behind them. Yeah, so I think due to the fact that it wasn't a game that really mattered in terms of if they won or not, Burrell was kind of put on the shelf for that last game. Now, who knows? Maybe he asked for that so that he could look about his passport. I don't know. But I can tell you that this is a player, no doubt, I think we need to see in the Unity Cup, because, you know, I think it would be a bit of a disservice to him to throw him in a best 23 for Gold Cup, not letting people see what he has to offer, at least in this Unity Cup coming up. So Romain Burrell, again, a player that I'm having to learn about as we go. So I'm really hopeful that he's in the Unity Cup mix, because, you know, he's a striker. We need a striker right now. His age is good. He's only 24 years of age. You know, the pedigree might not be as strong as, like, you know, some of the other players that we have been linked to and we have gotten in the past, in terms of, like, you know, coming from academies or bigger academies or whatever the case is. But I will say that he seems to be a player that is in the right path in terms of his goal scoring output. You know, he's been at smaller clubs before, Grimsby, you know, Borough youth setup. Then he moved to Bradford in 2021. And then he spent some time over in Scotland. He was at Kilmarnock, then Falkirk, and then he went down to, and those, I think those two, well, Kilmarnock would be Premier League, Falkirk is in the Championship, I think, and then he went to Cove Rangers, which is League One in Scotland, and that's where he basically became prolific. And then Burton Albion this year, his first year really playing League One consistently. He definitely, you know, is one that I think they're going to look to build on this performance in the end of this season. His contract is basically up at the end of June 2027. So yeah, I think Burton will be sticking with him going into next year, trying to put some more pieces around him so they can have a much better finish to the season. But look, Romain Burrell looks to be very quick, looks to be very physical, strong. Not a big bulldozer type player, but not short either. I want to say he's about like 5'10", maybe 5'11". Looks to have good speed on him, pretty quick, good burst of pace. You know, one of those like quick twitch muscle type of athletes, you know, 5'11". So a lot of his goals were like, you know, inside the area, just being first to react type of thing. You know, really want to see him play more to see how his link-up play looks, because most of the clips I saw, it was really more finishing actions that I was getting to see. So yeah, I am just interested to get more information on the player before I make a judgment call on him. But Unity Cup for me is a must. Have to see this guy playing in the Unity Cup. Hurry up and get to Corey Burke. Yeah, I'm trying, bro. I'm gonna get through all of them. I won't even get to the 23 today, clearly. That's all right though, because we can pick that later. Ain't like it no pick now. Tomorrow, as I said, people, make sure to turn up as well for the damn reggae girls one. Because we're gonna do the same thing and go down the list and talk about additions and omissions. All right. All right, we're reaching this damn list now. Who was I was talking about? Okay, Roman Burrell, that's another addition we just showed. Warner Brown, people. So Warner Brown, no asterisk for him. I think if we're picking one JPL striker, Warner Brown is in the head of the pack. Got a chance in the Gold Cup prelim, scored a goal, which is what the main thing is to do. Still think a lot of other aspects of the game need work. Do love his energy inside the box and on the field in general. And I do think that in terms of education is concerned, he's somebody that is getting more educated, even being in Jamaica. So don't let it think that you can't get educated where you are. I have seen improvement in his game from last season to now. And I'm not just talking about goal scoring. I'm talking about movement off the ball. I'm talking about supporting the team when you don't have the ball. I'm seeing those improvements. So Warner Brown and others in Jamaica, don't think you have to leave to improve. Put your head down, take it serious. That's one thing I noticed with Warner Brown. Him look like him really take it serious. You know, you can see what it mean to him. You know, you can see that him keep himself in shape, even though he's been struggling with injury a lot. He make himself available to play and put out a good effort as well while playing injured. So Warner Brown, a lot of things that he do I like. And if it's a case where you have some type of niggling injuries issue or something that's causing the niggle, my hope is this summer, once you're done playing, because I don't think you're going, well, let me not say that. Just if you have something going on that's like causing the injuries, fix it. Because you're going to constantly be injured if that's the case. I don't know that to be fact, people, but just the fact that them always saying him not 100, I think maybe him have something going on that he need to just fix. Do a surgery, do a procedure and get it done. Like what Whisper did, and had to miss out a year, but it might be better for the long run, you know what I mean? But I don't know that to be fact, people. So anybody will know about the injury, them can tell me. But if that's the case, I want him to fix it, because I do think that this kid have something inside him there that people can work with. Yeah, man, people can work with it. I like Naman Campbell. He should be in all our squads. I actually think that, yeah, he definitely should be in every convo. Now, there's an argument that he don't make the squad, but he should not be an afterthought like what he is. If TC continues like this season, very soon he will value 30 million. There you go. Tariq Campbell is in the 23 for sure. Burrell awarded Player of the Month in January 25. Yep, that was this season, and that's Player of the Month for the entire league, not just his club. Yeah, man, scored most of his goals in the box. But I don't want to speak so definitively on him, El Meeks, because I wouldn't have liked the amount of times I've watched him to be all telling you anything definitive about him just yet. I can tell you though that Fox in the box is definitely a good term to talk about him, and he's quick. Very, very quick. In the stadium live June 10th, Guatemala dead. Big up Dan, Wagwan. All right, so that was Warner Brown. So Andre Blake. Ah, boy, Andre, please get better. My brother, we need you in the goal. TC at Sheffield United is not in the list. I actually have him as an omission, but again, remember I told you that my omissions might get a bag of cuss out because I didn't factor in papers. I just say names of me here not talk about, me not see them on the list. They are my omissions. You know what I mean? And I have a list of about 6 players right here, and it could have been more, but let's say the 6 that me see as the most way. Like, what's the deal? Why aren't they there? What's going on? That's the thing. All right, so next, Warner Brown over Boza. We need a finisher, so Burrell could be an asset. Yeah, I think his play style would be something the coach would be looking for sure. It's just a matter of how quickly can he, show us the goods, because sometimes it takes time with some of the players, so that's the only thing. We kind of don't have time right now. We need him to show up and show out right away. All right, Andre Blake, don't need to talk too much about him. Just praying that he gets well. not been in the team with Philadelphia for a few games now, so we're hoping that he can get back. Now we have Corey Bennett. He's over in Kuwait, in the top league in Kuwait. Look, I was very shocked when he got called up for the Nations League games, to be honest. I know there was a lot of things going on with injuries and other things, but I never really had him in the pecking order, to be honest. And not much has changed since then, in my opinion. Like, he is what, 20? He'll be 28 in December, so he's 27 now. As I said, he's over at Al Nassr, and that's not Al Nassr with Cristiano Ronaldo. That's Al Nassr in Kuwait. He went there in January, and it's not a league that I can get much info on in terms of what he's been doing since he's been there. I think it was BAM Sports was the first person I heard really talking about the player prior to the last window, when we're kind of basically in a bit of a striker's dilemma. We didn't really know where we were going to get the strikers from. And he was a name that was floated about. I think he went the university route in the States and, has pretty much gone from there on. And, the life of a footballer, sometimes you don't know where it's going to take you. And his life has taken him to the Kuwait Premier League. But yeah, he went to Northeastern. Been at Reading, which is basically the feeder club for Philly. He's been a few places. He played for the Philly Fury, a club team there, Charlotte Independence Championship, and then Las Vegas Lights. Scored quite a few goals as well. A total of 31 goals total in the championship. So that's not bad in about 95 games. And Al Nassr, it's shown that he hasn't played a game. I don't know if that's actually a fact. Maybe let me try and check Kuwait. Kuwait Premier League. So I'm gonna actually go to Kuwait Premier League site and see what I go on. Let me play for Al Nassr. So there was a game May 10th. I wonder the flash score of it. Can anybody tell me if they ever tried to look up the Kuwait Premier League? Let's see, Corey. I don't think Kuwait Premier League have anything showing, All I'm getting on every site is when he played for Las Vegas last. So yeah, if anybody knows any info on if Corey is scoring, playing, and I refuse to believe he's been there since January and don't play. But for me, Corey might be one of those ones that's an asterisk, I don't think the coach would put him in his 23. I don't think so. So I'm going to say Corey Bennett with an asterisk. Amari Bell on a touch right now, hoping he can get that sorted. But looks like he has, committed to Jamaica for the summer. He's in the Goalkeeper Provisional Squad. Lewis Baker. I will still show you guys Lewis Baker. Well, I won't show you. I will just tell you about Lewis Baker because most of you would have been following the player from a long time. Lewis Baker is one that was talked about before the last qualifier, even prior to the last qualifier. Back when we played the game against US with all the other players, Lewis Baker was a name that came up in that whole time as well. So it's been a good 4 years or so, 5 years even, that we've been talking about Baker potentially with Jamaica. I know Drainy Weather, that's one of your biggest ones, as a Chelsea product. But yeah, just happy that it looks like everything is over the line for Lewis. Even though we know in the past they have put names that maybe weren't potentially or didn't have their passports as yet. Based on some omissions on this one, I think they did not put people on this one that don't have passport based on the omissions that I saw, right? So, yeah, so this season he is back at Stoke City, right? He made 32 appearances over the league season. Of course, there's 46 possible games, so he did miss some of the games this year. And I'm just going to go through and kind of let you know how that went. So He started out the season with Stoke, played 2 of the first 3 games off the bench, even scored a goal in the first fixture of the year against Coventry, and then he moved on loan to Blackburn. Now at Blackburn, his appearances were kind of up and down, which was surprising. You know, usually a loan for a player of his ilk, a player of his you know, experience at the championship level. You know, I was just surprised that he was on the bench so much for Blackburn, not playing as much. Now, right before he transferred back off a loan from Blackburn, he started the last 4 games and had 4 good performances at DM. Right, then he went back to Stoke in January, and as soon as he got back, he started the first 4 games he played. You know, playing almost full 90 minutes most of the time, mainly playing in a double pivot as a DM. And then he wasn't in the squad and he sat on the bench for a game in March. And then from March onwards, he pretty much has played starting attacking midfielder for Stoke. And, you know, while he hasn't had the most output in terms of goals and assists, I think he's been very influential and playing well to close out the season. You know, I always had a feeling that he's more of an attacking player than a deeper line player. But this season, after watching him a bit more, scrutinizing him a bit more, I think that he does actually have a skill set that could be fine in a deeper line role. Now, you don't want him to be like a enforcer type of 6. Obviously, he'd be more of a ball playing 6, you know, but I don't think that it should be understated, like, or I don't think people should think that he can't tackle or he doesn't tackle or he doesn't work. He definitely has a very good engine on him, even for the age he's at now at 30. I don't think you have seen any kind of big, like, you know, drop off in how he runs or anything like that. I think he still has quite a bit of legs left to give. You know, played just over 2,000 minutes overall in the league, and total about just under 2,500 minutes. As I said, played about equal time as a DM, CM, or AM over the season. So, you know, I think it's, you know, whereas we've seen Casey Palmer come and do a job deeper in midfield, I think with Lewis Baker, it's not even a case of having him do a job. It can just be a case where he can do his job. You know, I think he's more equipped to play deeper in the midfield, but I don't mind him playing in a more creative role as well. Now, one thing for sure that you're going to get with him is increased quality on set pieces. So I'll see him taking over the dead ball situations for direct shots. I'll see him taking corner set pieces from wide as well. You know, we have Demi, Bobby Reed doing that typically. You know, Bailey at times with the in-swingers with the left foot. But I think that adding him to that mixture of people that can take free kicks will not hurt. So that's another added bonus you get from Lewis Baker. But for me, the time is of the essence with him. He's you know, this is probably the best physical cycle we'll get out of him. So use him up as much as possible. Put him in the 23, put him in everything, and let him play. He's been off since May 3rd. So potentially you put him in the Unity Cup as a familiar face to fans in England. And also, as a not obviously not experience with Jamaica, but experience overall in football with the players that I'm sure will be a bit inexperienced, some of the players, right? So I think he'd be a nice kind of, you know, to bridge the gap between the younger players that are getting looked at now, the older ones, and then all the players that will come over from the JPL that I'm sure will be in the Unity Cup team too. All right, so Lewis Baker, definitely one that I am happy about. You know, look, there's no point saying, boy, I wish we could have get him when he was 24 and 20. Brother, we get him when we get him. He's here now. So, yeah, that is it. Yeah, man, we know say you've been a talk about him and been talking to him and trying to talk to him. Marvin Ferran is in my omissions, which I'll run through real quick before I lock off. We're up to 3 hours, people, so I need to be done. I need to eat. I need to go sort out the rest of my life. So, all right, so next on the list after, who did we just do? Maribel, Lewis Baker. Okay, Leon Bailey, not much needs to be said. We wish Leon had a much better season overall, but you know, look, quality-wise, experience-wise, no-brainer in the 23. You know, some of the players coming in, maybe there's an argument now that, you know, we can be a little bit more, have more scrutiny towards him starting the games. But in terms of a squad, No way that Leon Bailey isn't in it, right? So we're not gonna have no stupid conversations. This guy has played 8 times in the Champions League this year, 38 appearances overall, even with all the time off and missed time and benchings. 2 goals, 4 assists. That's really what we're a bit sad about this year. Just the output has not been there. Mainly playing wing role, right wing or left wing, mainly right wing. But yeah, the end of the season was just not good enough. He played 1 minute against Tottenham last week. Maybe he gets more game time in the final game, but who knows? Maybe not. I think the coach really brought him on just so he could run out in front of his home fans. Some were speculating due to his emotions. It might have been the last time. I'm not gonna go so far. I think that might have just been emotions of it being a hard season overall for him, but we shall see shortly what's going to be the plan for Bailey. But yeah, a lot of people saying maybe his time is up at Villa. I think they might be right. Maybe it's just, because we've seen every version of Bailey at Villa. We've seen with no competition against him. We've seen with whole heap of competition. We've seen when they bought a player in his position to come in. We've seen like every single version of what it's like to be in a squad. And, he really only came up trumps last season out of all the time. So maybe they will do what I would do if I was Villa. I would give it until January to see. His contract isn't up until 2027, so it's not like he'll be a free agent after this first part, because Bailey notoriously will give you one good, one bad season. So he got the bad one out the way this year. Maybe he's back to 20 goal contribution next year like the year before. So let's see. If I am them, I don't think his value is any better than it would be before right now. So give him till January. Give him opportunities, see if he's producing. Obviously, if he's producing, you could, even if you had your mind made up from now, you have only added to the value of his sale. So if I was Aston Villa, that's what I would do. I would play it until January window to see what I want to do. But yeah, Bailey in the team, no issues with that. I have no issues with that. Next, Dwayne Busy Atkinson. Now, for me, people, Busy Atkinson, if we're going to be picking a 2-3 or a 1 attacker, a 2 attacker from the JPL in any 23, and I'm talking the final squad, for me, Dwayne Atkinson has to be there. I think he's been unlucky with these local camps getting injured at the wrong time. But he's a player as well that, some will say maybe it was the Iceland time that improved him. I think I've seen improvement in him since he's been back from Iceland. He's playing better now than he was last year, even though they won the thing last year. He's playing better now. What I saw him doing in the Caribbean Cup, in parts of that first leg, especially against Inter Miami, yeah, man, this guy, yeah. And he's, at this point, the JPL is like, he's just running through people in the JPL like it's not even a problem. So, yeah, if he can sort out whatever fitness thing he got going on, I think he'll be out of the country again. He's now still only he just turned 23, so it's not the terrible age at all. But he does need to move out soon. And I wouldn't put an asterisk on him because I think that he actually could be one of the ones that you're saying if you're taking a one attacker, one defender from JPL type of thing, he would definitely be in the running. Maybe not the one, but he'd be the two. You know what I'm saying? So I wouldn't asterisk him. Mikel Antonio, boy, this one was shocking. The coach said that he spoke to him and potentially he could be in the lineup this Sunday for West Ham. Obviously, he would probably be off the bench. But yeah, he said if everything is going the way he plans it, McClaren said that he said to pencil him in for the Gold Cup, the World Cup qualifiers. Hell, if you're going to pencil him in for all of that, you might as well make him play in the Unity Cup too. So again, another face that will be known in London on the field for all the fans coming out. But yeah, what are we going to get? That's the big question mark. What are we going to get? So I think actually for us to know if we want to put him in the Gold Cup team, he might actually have to play the Unity Cup. What do you guys think? Should we not pressure him with no Unity Cup thing? Or, because I just think he just needs to play. If we need to see like what kind of physical state he's in to know. I think there's no way to know unless you put him in there. A steward. Yeah, I remember you saying that. A steward in the locker room. Me and 20 people boycott not going to the Gold Cup. It's disappointing how the coaching staff did with Ravel. We had big plans going, but everyone decided not to go this morning. We stand. Damn. So there you go, people. They put in the omission of Ravel as the reason they're not going to the Gold Cup. So that's 20 fans less that were showing up. Hopefully that's not a trend that continue. But Tycoon, if you don't want to take that stand there, that's the stand I don't want to take, my bro. Baker had a good renaissance at Stoke. Yeah, he did. He's a midfield general, not a maestro. Okay. Mad. Just want to know why Corey Burke name on the list. I don't know, Let me continue along. So Atkinson, I'm okay with. Mikel Antonio, question marks definitely there, but 60-man pool, I'm okay with. Karai Anderson, I'm okay with him being there as well. He actually has had seasons in the past where he got more time and started more regularly, but still, again, in that midfield area that we have these issues, he's still only 20. And to be totally honest, I don't need to be scrutinizing my midfield options nearly as much as all the other places on the field because we don't have their midfielders like that. All right. Still played about 2,000 minutes this season and did appear 45 times over all competitions. So it ain't like he's not playing games, but he had more starts last year if you compare it. He had more of the minutes percentage last year if you compare it. So that's all I'm saying is that in years past, he did have a little bit better run out. But still, Karai Anderson in my 60-man pool for sure. 23, that's another convo to have. Christopher Ainsworth, I have no issues with him in the 60-man pool. I think, again, we're trying to pick the cream. We're trying to be mindful of age. Out of the JPL, Christopher Ainsworth, you cannot argue he should be in the 60-man pool. Then we have Corey Burke. I'm going to put a big fat asterisk by him. I do not think the coach would pick Corey Burke for the 2025 World Cup 23-man squad. Corey Burke is now, 33 years of age to be 34. We already have a few of those 30-year-olds in attacking areas. I don't think Corey Burke is better than them. So yeah, Corey Burke, brilliant guy. From everybody that I know that ever met him, Corey Burke, I've never heard nobody say nothing bad about him. But this is not a popularity contest or who's a good guy contest. This is a football team. So Corey, I just don't think that you're still there with this team. Some might say it's disrespect not to even put him in a pool, but again, I want more players in the pool to actually be players that we're actually going to pick. And I don't think that any of us picking a 23-man squad, including the coach himself, would put Corey Burke in it. So that's why I give him that. Alvas Powell, some people would have said asterisk him, but not me, people. He is now 31 in July, so he's 30 years of age. Again, this has a little bit to do with the position. The right back position is not somewhere that we're just strapped and have a whole heap of people. There were some other right backs omitted that are on my omission list that makes Alvas Powell a must in the pool. Okay, so Alvas Powell for me, no problem. Into the pool, he's in probably, arguably, the best team in the Eastern Conference in the MLS, FC Cincinnati, in terms of personnel and their form. I think they're in second place right now overall, but I think they might actually have the best team. And he has made 9 appearances so far in the league. Not many starts. I think he's only started like 1 or 2 games. And he did make 3 appearances in the Champions Cup before they were knocked out, right? So not playing all the minutes, but definitely is a player that fills a role whenever anybody gets tired in the back line for them, right? So Alvas Powell, somebody the coach trusts off the bench, maybe that's something that he can bring to Jamaica as well in terms of an option that the coach might trust off the bench. Some of you have PTSD, so you'll probably, I haven't even looked, but I'm sure there's at least 2-3 comments saying, no, sir, you're madman, Powell can't make this team and that. But listen, people can change. What I said earlier, I never think Jamanese should have been playing for Jamaica. And I believe he should be playing for Jamaica now. So you can have difference and change over time, people. It can happen. It can happen. All right. Next on the list, we have Nikolai Fuller. For me, Nikolai Fuller is an asterisk player. definitely a lot of potential, good player, had a very good JPL season. You see his prowess from dead ball, good set piece, corners and everything. But definitely needs a lot of work in terms of just overall game. Actually, I love his work rate. I think he puts in a lot of work on the left side. You see him tracking back. But I think just needs a lot of work in the final third in terms of open play. Doesn't influence the game enough from open play for me. Has moments every now and again where it's like, damn, this player can go places, but it's just not enough for me. Not enough consistency, right? Of those moments, right? You see somebody like Busy in the league, it's like 3-4 times a game he's doing these things. Fuller might do it once every 2 games. And for me, that's the difference, right? Busy, you can see how much further along he is. Fuller not quite there yet, and we're talking about picking at 23 for the Gold Cup. So Fuller, I know it's great motivation for him to see his name on this provisional, but if he's being honest with himself, he probably don't think he's going to make the 23, and that's not a bad thing. That's just being honest with yourself. I think honestly, these last 3 players on the list, I don't think they have any chance to make the 23, so they can all get it. Andre Fletcher, a little bit older. He's on the older side. He's 28 now. No, sorry, he's not that old. He's 26 now, so not terrible age, but definitely would want to be out of the league probably by now. He's at Waterhouse. He had a good season though, goal scoring wise. Just outside the playoffs, Waterhouse ended up, so we didn't get to see him in the playoffs. But Andre Fletcher, decent player, left-footed, can play off the left or the right, can play behind the striker as well. Raheem Edwards, decent player. I don't really think he's international quality though, to be honest. So I would give him an asterisk as well. And I think these are some of the players that the talk about them in Jamaica has just pretty much warranted them to be on here. But if we're being honest with ourselves, these players are really gonna be afterthoughts in the final setup. So are they really worth putting on? And then when you factor in the omissions that I'm about to tell you now that I thought were glaring: Ravel Morrison, Daniel Johnson, Corey Adai, Tyrese Campbell from Sheffield United, Brandon Cova from Leicester, played for Fleetwood and Port Vale this year. I'm not the biggest fan of this player, but I think he should have been in the pool as well. Tavon Gray from New York City, right? If we're talking about positions and areas that we think we might need cover, there's another player in the MLS, Kyle Duncan, right? I don't know why Jonathan Bell from Seattle is not in the provisional squad, so and then when you factor in that I have just gone through and asterisk some players in the 60-man squad. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So 16 out of the 60 players I have put an asterisk on, and I think all of you have pretty much agreed with me. Yes, he's still at Villa. He played the last game for a minute. He came on for a minute. Yeah, now that him have a solid base, Ravel could have do him thing. I agree. System change, mash up the man season. I think you're talking about Leon. It was a hard decision to make by the group, but it's life. We will not support this Gold Cup. We will draw the support in respect of Ravel. I didn't make the decision, the group did. Well, when you're a part of a group, you have to work with what the group are doing. So that's the right thing to do still. Penalty just miss a penalty. Rather than El Nasser, they need to sell him. Because him caused them demise. He did mention Antonio for Unity Cup. Okay, good. That's good. But I think he should be there. He said he's trying to make West Ham bench. Yeah, I heard that part. Don't want to see Antonio in Unity Cup. We know what he brings. Okay. But I just feel like we need to see what he brings now. Like, can he, what is his running looking like? And, that's the only reason I would say can get fitness from the academy team, not the Gold Cup. I was thinking that energy. Maybe don't stress him out with Gold Cup, but see how him look in the Unity Cup to see if we want to use him in the qualifier games and then just let him really go do a proper preseason for try getting things started for the team. I wonder if that would make more sense. But then again, if he play World Cup qualifier and can play, Red Brass, just bring him a Gold Cup then. For real. But all of us better than what we've been using. That is it. With Corey, we know that he has a goal in him, either end. Oh gosh. They add Alvas to mash up Ryan Meds. Don't think he will be in 23. Paul is not that bad. Owen Gardner over enough of them. That is true. I know it. What about Peter Lee? And what about who else? I don't know. I'll be a Trini after that. And Brazilian. So you can't say nobody else. Yeah, man. Turkleman. Could have be. I mean, yeah, over some of them, brother, Missy, yeah. But still, he would have get the asterisk too. I'm not get picking at 23. He's very influential in MBU side. I think age is against him, though. That's true. Javane Brown, yes, that's another omission. I think, is Javane back from injury, though? Simon Crutches, when last I was looking at this thing. Even though that can't really be an excuse because a man in there and we're gonna see them play for a long time. Just checking on Javine. He wasn't in my omissions only because I thought he was still unfit. But it says he's made 3 appearances this year. Okay, yeah, he's injured right now. He's been injured since the end of March. Okay. I could have swear say I see him with one of them something to help him walk, you know? Not a crutch, but the other thing. Yeah, so again, my omissions: Ravel Morrison, Daniel Johnson, Corey Adai, Tyrese Campbell, Brandon Cover, Tavon Gray, Kyle Duncan, Jonathan Bell, Javane Brown. Can anybody else think of people that I might have left off of this omissions list? I saw that he said Owen Gordon, even though I didn't really fully agree with it. You can class him as one. But again, I have counted 16 people in this squad that I don't think have any chance to make the 23. And that's too many. That is too many. And that's why when people say, oh, you're freaking out about 60 man, it's only 23. Brother, when you start to break it down by position, and then you see the numbers of position or people in that position, you say to yourself, Jano, could I use 16 more people actually could have picked, you know? He's very influential in the MBU side. Fuller is very promising and should be given a chance. Yeah, BM, I think Fuller will go to the Unity Cup. I think Fuller will go to the Unity Cup. I do. I think he will. Yeah, Javane is injured, but then again, Antonio on the list. So that's why I said, thank you. I knew there were more. Satchwell. That's the one that I hadn't written that should have been there. Kenroy Campbell. That's another one I think should be there. I'm not going to piggyback off everybody and say Ronaldo Webster. I never had him in my thoughts. But Kenroy Campbell, Satchwell, Krista J. Daly, even as an attacking midfielder, I would like to see him maybe in the Unity Cup to see what's going on with him. Even though his season finished kind of early. But these type of players should be in the pool. Ronaldo Biggs, I think he kind of lost his chance when he got injured the last time. Malik Foster is another one. Thank you. People are going to cuss me, you know, but me still would have put Speedy Williams in a pool, you know. I swear. I don't think Speedy is as bad as when I go on, like, you know, the Shane Beckford. Why? What happened? We never say him did look good. Last time we did play Guatemala. Anytime we play any game before a big game, I would bring people. I would say them good. I would put them in the main team. Then them gone after that. Where the Shane Beckford there? Yeah. Let us ask ourselves this question. When was the last time did Michael Antonio or Shamar Nicholson kick a good shot at goal? I don't know. Speedy over there for them, man. So listen, we just talk about omissions. Remember, you know, my name 16 baller, you know, when nothing supposed to be 16. And I had about 8 of them written down. And then we'll start add some more where I agree with. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So just off the top of my head, I had 8, when I add 9 more, I may agree with almost every one of these, except for maybe Biggs. Because I don't think Biggs would just get an asterisk again. So, yeah, these 16 names could have made up for all of these 16. Now, I know people are going to say, oh, you just don't want no JPL. Let me point something out too now. Of the people them that have an asterisk, right? It's not just JPL people. We have one baller in a Kuwait when we say no bother, right? And no disrespect to you, Mr. Bennett. That's just my personal thoughts, right? I don't think you would be in consideration for the actual 23, so I don't know why we're wasting a spot in the 60, right? Basically, there's what? 3 players out of the 16 don't even actually play in Jamaica. So 13 of them are from the JPL, yes. But even if I was to take out those 13, we would still have 9 players in a 60-man pool from the JPL, which when you look at it, we're not going to have no more than 3 in the main team. And sometimes it's no more than 2. So do we really need 16 players for a potential 2 or 3? I don't think so. And that's what I was getting at about being more mindful of how you select the rest of the people. Even if the coach say, listen, this is my 35 that I like. Take more care, technical staff and coaching staff with the other 25 in the 60. Please, it's so important that you do this. So important. That's my only gripe. That's my only gripe. I don't think we really acknowledge it's Kevin Lambert as well. Another one we don't even say. Not to say that all of these would make the 23, but clearly he would be a better option than a Sule Makala. At least, maybe I'm wrong, but I think so. Yeah, I should. I really should make my own damn 60 list and show them what it would have looked like. But it's all right. I think my point is made. I hope. And I wanted to go through the squad and show you how I got there instead of just telling you what we should do. That's why I think we should do more along the lines of what I'm saying. Take a little more care or a lot more care in the damn fringe people on the team, because that fringe can easily become part of the bench, and then with enough bullshit going on with injuries and papers and flights and blah, that fringe that was the fringe that became the bench can now become potential starters, and then you're going somewhere else for the other people and you're just doing this constant rotation. But I feel like we have enough quality to have quality fringe players too, and that is what I want us to get to, because then I can really and truly beat the coach when it's 65 minutes, we're not playing nothing and him now sub people. But too many times we say only this amount of people going to play. Yet still the players that we pick, we don't need to sub the players for those players. We need to sub different players off the field. But we ain't got no option for those players because we put in fringe players that the coach don't trust. We've seen it play out so many times. We need to get away from that. We need to take more care in building out the entire squad and thinking about it even more. You know, I want them to get more realistic. If it's a 60-man pool, you need to do what you do with the 23-man pool. You have, 11 positions on the pitch, right? So call it 5 deep in every position. And you go through your pool that way. Instead of just finding different names to make 60, make sure that you have it set up to where I could analyze this list and say, okay, here's 5 left backs, 10 center backs, 5 right backs, 5 central midfielder, 10 winger, and 5 striker. That should add up to 60 when you add up all of that. And if I can make sense of all of those little positions based on who you pick, in other words, if I have out of the 16 asterisks that I came up with, if I have 7 of them ball in a one area of the team, then that simply means we're going to players that I deem not fit to be picked anyway, because they are in that position for that pool. So that's why it's 60 players. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but when you break it down into position, it's not that many per position. So you have to pick all of them good. Come on, someone please just acknowledge what I'm saying in the chat and say, yes, Gooner, yeah, think about it the right way. But I don't, based on how they pick these squads, I don't think they think of it that way. They just say, okay, let's get our 2 that we like in each position, and then let's just put whoever. And that cannot be the way to do it, man. Malachi Molina, thank you. That's one that they need to be looking at. Malachi Molina. I would have seen more Reed in this pool. Recently got moved up to the first team after scoring too much in the damn MLS Next. Jonathan Rowe, another omission. I left off him on Greenwood because I think it's just their stuff. I'm pretty sure it's just paperwork, you know. And for that reason, I could have left off Adai, but it's because Adai was on there last time. I put him on this time. That is my point, Jairus. They don't think about what if. They would rather say, all right, we're good. We're top heavy. We're good. So when them two man they forward, them now gonna get picked. But then one of them two, sometimes two of them two, and nothing. Pearson is actually playing in championship now, you know. Him leave MLS Next and gone to Las Vegas. Same team with Malik Howell, who in the roster. Who in the pool. But yeah, people, that is it, you know. No additions, omissions. I'll have to amend the title and take off the last part because we're not going to get to the best 23. I cannot continue this program anymore. This is a marathon, 3 hours and 30 minutes. Way too long, but hey, discussion had to go. So I'm going to get off YouTube now. There is a match coming up later, and that is, of course, the actually not even later. The squad should be out. So Tottenham and Man U for the Europa League title to see who gets to the Champions League for next year. That should be an interesting one. But yeah, that is it, people. That is it. Thanks for all those who tune in. Has Pearson improved? From when we saw him at the under-20s, yes. I would say he is better now. Yes. Has the improvement been to where, you know, you would warrant like getting into this setup? I think because we have so many asterisk players and because he's in the midfield area, I would say yes, he's somebody that I think could get a look into the pool. He's 22 years of age now. As I said, he's at Las Vegas Lights in the championship. He has made, let's see, I think he has played 6 times so far for Vegas, starting 44% of the minutes, or 44% of the time he's in the starting lineup, and he's played 47% of the overall minutes in the league. Yeah, between the championship, the USL Cup, and the US Open Cup, he has played 572 minutes. He has made, 4 starts in 6 appearances in the championship. Yet to register a goal, or actually, no, he did have a goal in the USL Cup. And he's predominantly playing either DM or CM, so 6 or 8 typically. But yeah, I think this year is a big year for him, to be honest. I think if he can, you know, become a nailed-on starter, key contributor in Las Vegas team. You know, Las Vegas is a team that did very well in the competition last year, so it's not like it's a small team in the league. So yeah, if he can do well, I think he's somebody that a lot of the US, I think he has a lot of eyes on him in the US setup, like in terms of the leagues in the US. You know, I think he's always been pretty highly touted. He was in Columbus Crew setup as a key member of their MLS Next, and you know, they went ahead and sent him to Las Vegas because I think they want to see how he, you know, they basically want to see how he, well, they don't want to see, he wants to see, and I think it will make or break his future because, you know, he's never really been at the championship level at a consistent level. You know, he played at Tulsa for a while, but it wasn't any consistency really. Some say maybe he was playing because the coach was Ricketts at the time. I heard that sentiment. But he did have a good end to his career with Columbus too. Ended up becoming like a key player, you know, captain the team on occasion. So he definitely clearly has some leadership qualities. We saw him captain Jamaica as well, even though I thought he wasn't playing very well in the tournament. But yeah, look, as I said, I can't hold a grudge over Christopher Pearson for the rest of his life because I thought he underwhelmed in the under-20. If the boy is improving, I will come and tell you. And I do think that I'm still watching because he's in a better league now. And you know, he's getting tested more. But I like the fact that the coaching staff at his new club clearly see him as a piece that they want to use, as he has played 6 times and started 4 of those times. So that's a good sign, and we're just going to continue to watch and see if it keeps up. Adrian Blake is another player that I don't know what's going on with him, to be honest. I think in the 60. Junior Flemings is not in the 60, and that is an omission. I don't know how I didn't write his name down first, because that's the first player. Well, there's 3 players that I think are just ridiculously not there. And those 3 would be Ravel, Flemo, and DJ. I think those 3, I don't care what kind of thing you tell me, I just don't see a place where they don't make a 60-man pool for a Gold Cup. It doesn't make sense to me at all. It doesn't make sense to me. Chorus, big up and thanks for the support on the channel. People, I have not even been badgering, you know, it's 3.5 hours me there, you know, people. So I should have like 17,000 likes. I should have 2 million likes right now. Let me see. Can't even find the damn thing. Where is it? I think God don't want me to see it because I'm going to be disappointed. All right, so we got to the 100 likes. We can live with that, people. Can live with that. We really do appreciate the 100 likes. Looks like a lot of you did like the video when you voted, so that is nice. Send the omissions to Eddie Gooner, please. He was challenging us in the chat. Well, Eddie Gooner, he's a educational type of youth, and I know that he knows that the discussion here is around the football and nothing else. So I think he will probably tune in and maybe double time it so he can hear what was said. But I am sure he'll probably do I'm sure we'll see each other on the YouTube airwaves somewhere. So I will definitely let him know what's going on. Yeah, man, the people them still there, man. Look like they well want to talk about the thing. But anyway, we're done here now, Rob. So I'm going to watch United play Tottenham. Brother, I don't even know who's going to win the game. I don't even know which team is the favorite. All I know is I don't really business who win. I feel like I know less Tottenham fans, so I kind of might want Tottenham to win more. But then at the same time, you know, Tottenham fans will start to talk, and then I don't really want to know any Tottenham fans. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just stick with the evil that I know and say, "Yo, man, you just win here, man." So they can come and tell me that your season was better than ours, and we can have the debate again, like always. At least I know that evil. So let me stick to that evil. So United, I'm pulling for you guys, bro. I can't say Spurs to win nothing. I'm sorry. So yeah, Manchester United. And I watch now, as I said that now, United concede their first minute or some crap like that. But people, when I watch some football today, man, Europa League final should be nice, should be entertaining. Both teams definitely haven't even played Premier League for the last month. So they've been just putting all their eggs in this basket, and it worked out for them because they're in the final now. So let's see who can get it over the line. I'm tired for telling you, every second season him ever coach a team, they make it to the them win a trophy. So let's see if it happens with Tottenham for him. All right, people. But I am gone, people. I am gone. I'm going to eat. I am hungry. I need to eat now. And then go pick up the kid from school, my big daughter. So big up to the people, them. Of course, I saw the Palace first City. I'm actually gonna do one last EPL show previewing the last games on Sunday and Saturday night. And I was planning on talking about the FA Cup final and also obviously what happens in the Europa League final on that show Saturday. Because the rest of the week is gonna be all Jamaica content pretty much, because tomorrow I'm gonna do a Reggae Girls video during the day. And then yeah, I'm gonna do regular content during the day tomorrow, and then we have the super finals for JPL Friday night, which I'll cover live. And I don't know, tomorrow night I don't think I'll make any content like that. So yeah, tomorrow that's basically the schedule for coming up. Tomorrow we'll do Reggae Girls squad announcement, squad reaction, squad discussion, leading up to the game versus the USA on June 3rd. And also tomorrow night, I might run out, because we'll have the Unity Cup squad reveal tomorrow. So I'll deal with the girls during the day, and then maybe return in the night to talk about the Unity Cup squad. And then Friday, we will lead into the yeah, we'll lead into the super finals on Friday. We'll do a live stream for that. Maybe I'll show up a little earlier so we can catch some of the third place match as well, because you know that matters for CONCACAF, Caribbean Shield and all that. So yeah, we'll be doing a lot of Jamaica content this week until Saturday night when we do the preview show for the EPL. We'll have one last preview show, and then in the review show, which we'll probably do Sunday night after the games are played, we'll have like a nice review of the games and also mainly a recap of the season, pick a team of the season and things like that. That should be a nice show. So EPL content on the weekend, mainland Europe content on the weekend when all the leagues end. And then during the week, today, tomorrow night, and Friday night, we'll have some Jamaica content broken down with tomorrow during the day, Reggae Girls content. In the night, we'll have a Unity Cup reaction show at some point. And then Friday, we'll have the JPL Super Finals to cover. So all looking like a full schedule moving forward. So we'll bring you the content, people. Really want to thank each and every one of you who have subscribed. Had one of my better pushes in subscribers in the last last week or so. So really want to thank those getting the word out there, sharing the content. And we're seeing the viewership kind of grow when we do these live programs, no matter what time we come on. So I really appreciate that. All right, people. So big up on yourself. Thanks again for tuning in. All those too many to name in the comment section. Big maximum respect and blessings to everybody that tuned in and participated. As I always say on the program, whenever you guys take part, it makes the program them run so much better. So we really do appreciate you guys being the stars of the show as well. All right, so big up on yourself and thanks so much for tuning in. As we get to the end of these programs, I always say these words. I am Jason Gooner. This is Jason Gooner TV. And the Gunners not playing today, so we ain't gonna say, come on, you Gooners. So we just have to say, come on, Jamaica. Big up on yourself. We're out.